All right, we are live and direct. I tell you, this has been one hard situation right here trying to get this show going. It's what time is it here? Right now it's 3:13 a.m. in the morning, early in the morning. I thought the last thing I would have to deal with is internet connection. At this time of the night, ain't no one really on the internet, and I thought that it would be a great time to come on and do this show. But having all kind of opposition. I'm gonna give you guys some one time to come in the room before I get into this. Give me 1 minute, and then we're gonna go into this. I'm not able to use the screen share, but I'm gonna have to use my iPad to show the video. Give me one moment. So I see we got people here now. What's going on, Black American S Fat, live and direct. It's a late show. I intended to be asleep by this time. Stayed up wrestling with this internet, but we're gonna get into this show. I don't have the same energy I had earlier. And I hope they don't take away from it. I started to cancel it and do it tomorrow night. But so I'm going to deal with it tonight. I have people that wanted to be a part of this. I'm going to post a link uh, later. But the topic we're dealing with tonight is why do they waste so much energy on us being with Filipinas? We have options. We have options. They have options also. But these women seem to be very bitter, and they seem to be pandering to a certain group of women that's going through the same thing. All the women seem to be bitter. They use the same talking points. In all their videos, they put black men down, call us weak, and they lift up other races, and then they on a mission to destroy other women. I think as black men, I mean, we have it hard sometimes dealing with the black women, and not all black women, but those type of particular type of black women, the ones that's bitter. And I call them pretty much bed wench type of women. I think Synthetic G was talking to a white guy one time. I seen a video that circulated on the internet when she was talking to a white guy one time, and she admitted that she was using him for his money and his resources. A lot of guys like us, we don't want to deal with those type of women. They quit to call the other women gold diggers. And this lady admit on a video, it's out there on the internet on YouTube, where she used this guy for money, a white man. They showed me a lot about her character. And they pandering to women, probably the women that have been hurt, or women that their men lead them to go to a woman of another race. And we seem to be the only group of people that deal with this kind of stuff. The white men for years, I mean, since the 60s and before that, been going to Asia, Thailand, Philippines, dating and marrying Filipino women. They never had any issues, no problem with their women. Their women not bitter. Even during slavery time, I mean, they was out there messing with the slaves. And the woman, she didn't get mad. She was messing with Mandingo. She was getting hers too. So ain't never been an issue with any other race, even Asian guys that talk to black women. They're not tripping. Even the Filipino men, they're not tripping with us coming over and marrying the women and dating them. But why do this woman, or particular black women like those group of women, have a problem with us dating what we want to date? They got the image and they think that because we black that we supposed to just date black women. And they think that the black woman is just the only option we have. that the black woman is perfect for us, but I know a lot of black guys that dealt with black women, married to black women for years, and those same women was the one that took them down through a bad experience and it made them want to go outside and date other women and see what like the Filipino women is about, what the Latino women is about, because a lot of times they had some bad experience with women like those type of women. And they seem to be very bitter, very, very bitter because it seems like we can't win for losing. We stay with them, we're gonna catch hell, put up with their BS. I got to fight against them to be the man, to be the dominant one in the relationship. Then when we don't want to be with them, we go somewhere else. Then they still bitching and complaining. I'm like, damn. I don't care what they do. I see black women with white men and Asian men, Hispanic men. It don't bother me. They have options. We're gonna review this video though from Filipino P. We're gonna review we're gonna review the video that Synthetic G and the girl Nala, I think that's her name. We're gonna review that video. We're gonna hear these bitter women say what they said. You guys have in the comments. You can comment in the comment section. Also, we're gonna open up the panel very shortly. But we're gonna review this video. We're gonna have to play it on my iPad. I hope the sound quality and everything is great on it. Give me one moment. Okay, we're gonna do it like this. But let me know how the sound quality is.
I should exactly. I mean, Coco Noir says she is on her green card hustle. Girl, it's deeper than that, honey.
And one more thing too. They talking about the green card hustle. Hell, I've seen a lot of black guys married to women just like those women, and they talking about green card hustle. Them guys got hustle for everything. They got hustle for their house, all their money. In the end, they was left high and dry by these kind of women. They're talking about the Filipino women want green card. These women want your money too. They gold digging women. It costs a lot of money to wear that horsehair they got on. That horsehair costs a lot of money. Very expensive. That's their priority. Their priority is their horsehair. They put their hair before they put the men. But we're gonna get into this video.
So, Sin, did you get a chance to watch any of the video?
I didn't. I like to give my raw on the spot.
Who want to be with somebody that talk like that?
Yeah, me too. I like to do that too. But someone sent it to me. Shout out to the video fairies and was like, this would be a good. This would be good. Okay, so let me check it out.
Okay, there you go.
Go ahead and push play. Should I show it? Because some of this you have to see.
It's probably not copyrighted. You should show it.
Okay, so let me go ahead and share the screen.
That voice would irritate the hell out of me.
I should have did this in Zoom. It's just so much faster.
I prefer Zoom, and StreamYard keep kicking me off.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing especially if I have someone on the panel with me, I'm gonna start using Zoom because it's just better, especially if you're sharing stuff. Okay, here we go.
Hi folks, the Filipino here, telling it like it is. When I first started my channel, I did a lot of research for my feminism
also,
video.
one more thing. How is the audio too? How do the audio sound? Can y'all hear it? Can y'all hear the audio? If you can hear it, hit 1 in the chat. If you can hear the audio.
An interesting viewpoint held by many Western men that, quite frankly, I mostly agree with. It's not so much a movement as it is a lifestyle choice. But since Western media seems determined to ignore them, or worse, I'd like to share what I learned about MGTOW, men going their own way. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of this wrong, but you guys can correct me, and I'm sure you can.
I just wanted to stop just for 1 second because I don't want us to miss any of context of what she's saying or where she's going. She leads
Okay, she
with
said fine. Okay, okay.
these MGTOW and red pill men are virtually ignored here. Okay, so she's setting a premise of them being victims less than a minute into her into her uh, into her video.
What this girl saying, the Filipino P,
The reason
I
I
agree
find
with
this
everything
very
she's saying.
interesting is that, in many ways, they seem like natural allies to us Filipinas and women of other Asian countries. And
I
because
agree with
there
you,
are
Robert.
so many of them showing up in our shores and in my comment section, I thought it would be interesting to discuss just who they are and what they have to say.
Get this promotion. I agree with everything this woman is saying, the Filipino P. I agree with what
For
Robert
those of
said.
you unfamiliar with the analogy of the red pill, it's a reference from the movie The Matrix, where Neo is offered the choice between living in blissful ignorance
They
and
want
taking
her very
the blue pill,
intelligent too, the way she
or
speaks,
seeing the ugly reality
educate.
and taking the red.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want.
I'd rather deal with a woman that sounds like her than sound like Cynthia G
And I show you how deep the rabbit hole.
than the other lady.
MGTOWs have, of course, chosen the red. But what does that actually mean? What reality do they think they see that the men around them refuse to admit? Well, according to the MGTOWs, you Western men have been sold a lie. You were raised to believe a Disney fantasy. Work hard, be a good man, treat your wife well, have children, retire in your golden age and enjoy what you earned. That's the way it should have been. It's what your parents and society told you it would be if you were just a good husband and provider. But as you got older, you saw the glitches in the matrix.
Yeah,
You
it
became
sounds script.
aware that
Sounds like she
something was
prepared
rotten
herself,
in Denmark
but she
and
on
every
point though.
other Western culture.
Cynthia, did you have any commentary for anything that she said right there? Okay.
Yeah, they
Because I do. Oh, Cynthia been
pretty
gone
much
again.
upset that we
Okay,
got
'cause
options.
I do. So listening to that part, just that little part or whatever, this woman is in a third world country speaking on American or Western culture, like as if she doesn't want to either come here or benefit from the American dollar on some way. And so I mean,
One more thing too. A lot of them women like her, they think that the women want to come to the United States. Some women don't want to come to the U.S. Some women happy being in their country. They're not trying to get to the U.S. And some of these women want to date a foreign man because that might be a better option for them sometimes. They might have had experience just like us, bad experience with their men. I met several women in the Philippines that had bad experience with the local guys. And so they look at the option of dating outside, dating foreigners, because they might have friends that had a better life and had a foreigner that was much better. So these women are exploring their options. They're like how we exploring our options. And the problem they have a lot is the culture, because in their culture, particularly in the Philippines, the culture is to cater to the men. They cater to the men. They take care of the men. They still feminist like a woman. When women like Cynthia G and Nara, I mean, those women, like in the U.S. culture, they are more dominant. They want to stand up to the man. The man can't really be a man because they want to be equal. Um, and they want to really be the head. They want us to bow down to them. When the Asian women, even the Filipino women, they're not asking us to do all of that. I mean, they give us respect and they're more supportive. They're not putting us down like women like that that's bitter, like Synthetic G. I mean, Synthetic G, I feel sorry for her in a way because she sounds so bitter and so hurt. And like she's on the she catering to women in the same situation. So my wife didn't want to come here at all. She moved because I couldn't move to the Philippines, right? But let them tell it. All the women want to come to the U.S. All the women want a green card. And some of these women, like her, she admit on one of her videos that she manipulated this white guy took his money. And women like her, they want money too. And the type of women, if you marry them, they're gonna take your house, they're gonna take your car, they're gonna take everything. Most likely it would end in divorce. I couldn't date a woman like her. She talked too damn much. I've been to punch her in her mouth. I've been to call a charge and be locked up in jail. But we're gonna let Synthetic G and her friend continue to critique um, Filipino P. What's going on, Calvin? You gonna
Find it amazing. Did you hear any of that, Sam?
No.
Okay, so you know what? Let me just take it back just a little bit. I almost feel like I'm doing an expose the Jezebel session. Let me see.
Think your wife well?
I feel like StreamYard is the Jezebel at this point.
StreamYard is a useless cigarette right now.
and they put the women down too, saying that they
And
whores.
you're both in age and
And
enjoy what you
I
earn.
did a video last night.
That's the way
Some of
it
the biggest
should
whores
be.
is in the United
It's
States.
what your parents and society told you it would be if you were just a good husband and provider. But as you got older, you saw the glitches in the matrix. You became
agree.
aware that something was rotten in Denmark and every other Western culture, where women seem to be going way beyond the desire for equality, which is a just and noble goal. But the women in your culture became loud, vulgar, aggressive,
I agree.
physically unattractive,
Physically
and you
unattractive.
noticed it from the sidelines
You're right.
of your life, comfortable in the belief that it didn't really affect you because maybe you were already married and settled. But then something happened to your own relationship, and you got a bitter taste
She right
of
on
the
point.
new reality. Maybe your kids were taken away, your bank accounts destroyed by lawyers and greedy exes.
You right?
And when you finally recovered from all that, you realized that the world you thought
She
you
on
lived
point.
in was now cold and barren.
Okay, so I think I want to go back a little bit because she said a lot. Did you get all that? She made references to
Everything she said was the truth.
American women becoming unattractive, like as if she is.
Yeah, aggressive, overweight.
She told the truth. Y'all are
And I
unattractive.
just like when I first I
U.S.
was watching
have more
this, I
obesity
couldn't
than
help
any country. I think
but
they're number
think
one.
of watching 90 Day Fiance and how some of the fiancés
And that's the
are
wrong thing too. They
Filipinos
always basing relationships
with
on 90 Day
major,
Fiance. That's television.
gold digging,
Most of that shit script. They get the worst of the worst.
and being
Put on their
overweight.
show.
And there was this one I remember. She had super gold digging vibes. I can't remember what her name was. No, John.
In real
this is
life,
not
I ain't talking about no
a
90
joke.
Day
This
Fiance.
is real. And
In real
it's
life,
funny,
I've seen a lot of
somebody,
successful
One with that
relationships
black
that
dude
worked
named
out.
Tariq
People was
on there.
happy.
yeah,
The men was happy.
yeah.
The women was happy.
And I mean, are they
And nobody
still,
complaining.
still together? I don't think they're
The only
together.
people complaining
she
is women
literally-
like
it was
them
just so
that's bitter.
obvious. The levels
been
of
hurt.
simping with him.
They need to get
And
over it.
how she just basically
Hell, I've
wanted
been
the
hurt
bread.
too.
She was destitute.
I've been hurt by some
She was
black
in a bad
women, but I'm
way.
not bitter and mad
And
at them.
he was the dumb simp that was gonna give her the money. Right. Exactly. Helen L says lots of Filipino women are overweight in the West.
But
What
the
she mean?
90
I
Day
don't
Fiance,
know.
they get the worst of the
Did
worst
the same
people.
thing, found an
For
overweight
television, the
girl
people that have no experience traveling,
Really? And his brother was supposed to be so
especially
protective
the women, they think that
over
we
him,
all
thinking that, you know,
in the
he
same
was trying to
situation
look
as
out for him,
those
but he
women,
got
I mean,
the
as
same
people
thing.
we see on the 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, just one that's fat.
Oh wow.
The black
I mean,
person.
she looked the one that he had looked fairly
Right.
grown, but it's gonna get good.
So they put us down. Now they putting down the women that we talk to, the Filipino women, which look more prettier, their own hair, natural. No
Okay, let me
makeup.
stop there because that works my nerves right
The
there.
bitch got,
Your
they got on
woman
half
no
of a
She's
horse.
longer-
talking to the dusty beta males now.
She absolutely see
Yeah, they
this
call us
woman
beta
is what I would
males.
like to call
Yeah.
a dust
I would be a
charmer.
beta male if I
She's
put up
dust-
with a woman like that.
Because the thing about it, these people are so vocal with their
350 pounds
dysfunction
of weed,
online,
small
and they
clothes,
like to talk about
bad
it
bodies.
ad nauseum. And she knows this, so she knows what
Like
to
when I was
say.
in the U.S.
A
for the
lot of
holidays,
times, the dust
they was looking at girls saying, "Oh,
and a
she's
lot of
thick."
these
I'm
guys,
like, "No, that
they
bitch fat.
literally will give
She ain't thick, she
the
fat."
Jezebel or the pick-me or the
A lot of
opportunist
obese women
that's
over
in a
there.
third world country that needs to eat 3 meals a day needs in order to appeal to them. Like these men literally wear all of their crap on their shoulders. It's a trip. It's a trip.
All that
So
baloney.
let's finish her listening to this woman from a third world
They don't
country.
have a clue. They keep saying a woman from a
describe
third
the
world
Western
country.
world as through the
Well,
eyes
the
of
U.S.
a
looking more like a
Brazilian.
third world country now.
Instead of being the hero, somehow you're now the villain. Marriage is poison to you.
Right.
And you see absolutely no benefit from it.
100%.
You're angry, and rightly so. But understanding the reality has been.
She said you're angry and rightly so,
So like
without even weighing the thing from a full like
All women
360.
angry.
Like she has. This is how you know this is what you would definitely call this is classic pick-me-ism. Because the pick-me does not have any sense for reality. They have like one goal in mind, and that's get the man.
That's why if you bring your woman to
him.
the U.S., you got to
And
keep them away from women like that.
A man is not
We'll
necessarily
try to
a bad
Americanize
thing, but
them.
when you're doing it through deceptive practices, it is.
Make them feminists
When
like
women
them.
or men tell the other, the
I agree,
opposite,
they treat
what
you
they
right.
want to hear in order
Yeah.
to quote unquote get them or attract them, you're attracting them or securing that relationship or that attraction based on a false pretense. And
She's so
isn't
wrong.
that what
She don't have
the
a
red
clue.
pill ideology is supposed to ward them against? Because she's
Some of
very
those guys,
confident.
we can speak from
And I went
experience.
and
We
watched
actually
a
dealt with
lot of her
women.
other
She just watching
videos
90 Day Fiance.
about how these men
That's her
think.
reference.
And
90 Day
if you
Fiance.
look through her comment
She don't
section,
have no real reference.
these men do simp really, really bad. So she knows that, you know, she
The
has
only men
power
that
over
simp
these
is men
men.
that bow down to you women like them.
Did you want to say anything, Sen, before I go play again?
They love saying how weak we are and putting us down.
Okay, let me
And now they putting down the women we date, the Filipino women.
Resulted in several distinct philosophies. Now, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but there seems to be a segment of the MGTOW population that has become completely anti-female, who view all women with suspicion and don't seem to care much about the way they interact with the opposite sex. While I can understand how their experiences have left them feeling this way, I don't agree with their views or actions. The term AWOL, which means all women are like that, only applies in a broad sense. I feel your pain, but not all women are out to separate you from your money. Not all of us are lying scammers, and not all of us are your enemies. If you're just here in the Philippines,
Look at that
to
simp
get
that super
honest,
chat her.
or to get revenge
Real
on the
simp.
women
That's a simp
for
right there.
how you were treated back home, or to use my country as a playground for your sexual escapades, and don't care who you hurt along the way, I have no sympathy for you, and you're not my friends. If, however, you're one of those men that's reassessed his options, but hasn't given up on women altogether, then let me refer back to the statement I made earlier. It seems to me that MGTOWs and other red-pilled men might be the natural allies of us Filipinas, because in many cases, we're the exact opposite of the very things you detest. I have a feeling that might be one of the reasons that us.
Okay, she said that they are the direct, Filipinos are the direct ally.
She must be a non-select woman in her country.
Sadie
Yeah,
Gita don't have no idea
you
what they're
can tell
talking
she's
about.
non-select. If she's appealing to men outside
They
of
see
even
black
her
men
country and outside of her
dating
culture
Filipino
to
women, going to the
put
Philippines, and now
herself and Filipino
they
women
wouldn't
on
have
a
done it.
pedestal, it's likely she's not getting validation from her own male group.
She just don't
It's
know.
obvious because that's the thing. Like, why would men in America that are literally the minority here be a natural ally to them as she goes on? She's going to describe how perfect
She don't know.
women are, and I don't think there's
Filipino
anything wrong
women,
with thinking
some of
that
them
you're
almost
good
kind of
and
like
all this kind of stuff
black
y'all got
women,
going
but
on
not like
or whatever. But listen
those type
to
of
this
feminist
woman.
type. They like the
If
old,
that's the
like back
case,
in the
she
day.
wouldn't have to appeal
Before all
to
of
men
that.
outside of her culture. Wouldn't her men be putting her
I
on a
think
pedestal?
Filipino people don't talk
That's
about
what
that.
I'm saying. Like, I don't think that obviously if they cannot recognize anything about
You with women like
their
her,
own women to the point
you
where
got to
they're willing
argue
to be
every day.
reformed
You
men,
would
men from other
G.
nations, men that
You
they
have
have
to
nothing
argue
in
with her
common
every
with,
day.
men that do not speak the same language. If they're willing
For
to
to
be
be the
with
head
them
of the
as opposed to the
relationship.
men of their homeland, something
So your G
is
not
wrong.
gonna cater to you.
Either like it's like you said, they cannot possibly be select in their own. There's no way.
You'll be catering to her.
Because soon as, like,
It'll be the other way around.
not even hypothetically, what you see in these cases is as soon as these
They don't have no clue of the
women
culture.
get to America, they become American women in ideology and lifestyle too. So she's just pandering so she can get through the door, and then she's gonna start
Are
running
you
amok
pandering
as
to
well.
hurt women?
Yes, she's looking for an American to provide a base and a watch for her feeding. Let's go.
So many of you here, when you look at us, you see an Asian version of the women in your own countries from 50 years ago. And
An Asian version of the women in your countries from 50
right.
years ago. If
She
we
right.
go back 50 years ago, see, like, this is how you know that she's literally just going off of talking points and she's running some serious game.
They going off
Like, it's
talking
almost
points.
like some serious
These women don't
dumbness
have
going on
clue
in
what
the
they're
game.
talking about.
Because 50 years ago, what were the women in this country doing?
Y'all was taking care
They
of the
were
man. The
happy
man
and
was the
Being
head.
being
50 years
traditional
ago.
and doing the very same things that she's likely to claim.
Watch them
ain't
old souls
only
like Leave the
Asian
Beaver.
women
You
like
had
her
June
are doing.
Cleaver.
Well, no,
They
she's
took care of the
setting
house.
she's setting the
War
premise
didn't have to fight
that
June.
50 years ago, women in America were being traditional homemakers,
They
while
was.
women in her land are still that way, but the women in America no longer make homes and all this kind of stuff.
That's why men
remember
go to the
earlier she said,
Philippines
you know, they want to,
because they
they're
get
searching
a
for
woman that's
equality and stuff
sort
like
of
that
old
because she's
fashioned,
making it seem like a big thing.
that's not
Of course, there's no
a feminist like the
her,
women's in the
her
U.S.
own land, which is why she's on the internet pandering and doing soft prostitution for
She said, "Oh, she doing soft
her
prostitution."
countrymen or whatever.
Wow.
But 50 years ago, weren't the women in here partaking? The women in this country, the
So they was
dominant
cooking, cleaning,
culture of the
taking care
women
of the
in this
house.
country, weren't they participating
The
in the
Filipino
feminist
women
movement?
are doing
Right.
today.
Weren't they fighting for equality? So this is how you know she's just using talking points because that's what these men
They
do.
using
They act
talking
like
points too.
women stopped making the home miraculously and started hating men 50 years ago, but that's not true. That's just a talking point.
These women don't have a
use, and
clue what they
she's
talking
literally
about
parroting that because
whatsoever. They don't know the culture.
dudes, red pill men, MGTOW men, they're all, in my opinion, potential simps. Because all you
What they
have
trying to do,
is
Americanize
tell
the
them what they
Filipino
want
women
to hear,
in the
right? And
Philippines.
that's what she's doing. She doesn't know
But the thing
The
is,
women, they're doing
but
what
the thing
all
of
the
it
other
is
women
that
do. It's
women
natural to them.
are homemakers to men who can afford to have
We
the
don't
woman
ask
as
the
a
women to
homemaker.
cook and
The only
clean and
men
take
who
care of
don't
us. They
have
do it.
stay-at-home women
They do
are
it
the
on their
ones
own.
who can afford it.
We're
So
not
therefore,
forcing
they
them to
need
do
to
this.
promote 50-50
They doing
and
what
submission at
the
the
women do in their
same time,
culture.
which is not
And I'm not
happening.
complaining about it. The only ones complaining is women like her.
Exactly.
It's not doing that.
Nowhere. Nobody is committing to
Black
somebody
men, we
that
know we
is
have
not
options now.
providing.
We going where it's
Okay, what is
better.
the point?
But we ain't got to argue with women like Cynthia G and Nadia. That we could be the man,
so what
have
is it about
confidence, and be
Filipinos
strong.
that you find so appealing? Why are you considered
Filipino
men
women don't ask for
such a
much.
desirable catch? Well, let me take a minute to tell you some of the ways we are different from what you're used to. The things that make me proud to be a Filipina.
Yeah, this is her dating profile so that she can get
I
whatever
don't
man
get a
she
fucking
thinks
clue.
she's trying
I
to
guess I
catch.
dating crap, man.
Right.
Bitch,
This is definitely how they, because the
I
Filipinos
most
that
definitely
I
have been a
know,
stranger. Cynthia G or part
the
of
Filipino
case
women that I
right
know
with
that
a
are in
woman
this
like her.
country definitely
I'd be
immigrated
like,
from
bitch,
the
shut the fuck up.
Philippines for
I've
a
been a
better
punch on her
life,
lip.
and most of them
The
are in the
police
medical
come.
industry. So,
I'd be like, take me away from
that
here.
would be in contradiction to
I'll go
what
to
she's
jail and
about
get out and
to
go to
say
the
in the next
Philippines.
couple of
Get a
minutes.
soft woman.
And Yvonne Mason, you are
Then I
crazy.
ain't got to put up
She
stuff like
said,
that.
so she's saying that she and others like her are abandoning their men because I know a few women that like egg rolls. But yeah, and thank you. You did entertainment. I didn't catch it at first. Thank you for that super chat as well.
Look at all them dudes super chatting, man. So we dudes.
Quality Filipina. And yes,
They probably
there are
can't get
many of us.
passports.
Here are some things you can expect. We're feminine. We take care of ourselves and try to look like women. Even if we're
Hell yeah.
We're feminine. We take care
She's
of
telling the
ourselves. We try to look like women. And
She's not
She's telling
feminine
the
though.
truth.
That's the thing.
She is
She
feminine.
actually isn't feminine. When I
Wow.
look at her, I don't see femininity. I see man shoulders.
Wow. I'm gonna stop it right here because I want it. Man,
yeah.
what you guys think about that?
With the-
They say this woman is not. They don't see a feminist woman. They say they see a woman that got man shoulders. And I think Cynthia G gonna say that her body look like a teenage boy. I mean, look at Cynthia G. All that damn hair on her head. One thing that draws us to some women outside of women is because Those other women, they wear their natural hair, no makeup, and I mean, they treat you like a man. You gotta fight them and argue with them like these women, debate them. Like you gotta debate them over fixing your damn sandwich. Or even like there been times when I've been sick and Rose take care of me and go to the pharmacy to pick up medicine and shit. Bitch like her tell me go get your own damn medicine. And like I had to argue for my rights as a damn man. And she said this woman is not attractive. Man, get the fuck out of here. I mean, who said you think they see us and Naya? I mean, when they take the horse hair off, take their makeup off, I mean, them motherfuckers gonna look like, I mean, they gonna look so bad. They gotta put on all that, go through all that work to look so-called feminist, but then they acting like men, acting like, feel like you're dating a tranny. You dating a woman, I mean, woman like that. Because, I mean, so much you gotta deal with. Why put up with shit like that? Why argue when you can go to the Philippines, get a Filipino that's gonna take care of you, that you don't have to argue with them. I mean, your life would be so much easier than dealing with a woman like that. Your ass gonna go to jail, you be broke. I mean, you'll be fucked when they get through with you. You go to the,
A teenage boy's chest. Like, okay, you know what I'm saying? But like again, remember how the MGTOWs and some, not all, like, yeah, the MGTOWs and some of these red pill types have,
thank you
you
for
know
that
how
super
they say
chat,
women
Robert.
can't speak on masculinity and manhood because we're not a man. Well, these are men that will describe and define what femininity is, and for them, femininity is something that they've made up in their mind, right? And
Femininity is nothing that they, these
pandering to
women is
men
that it culture to do
that you
this.
don't know on the internet is actually
It's a,
opposite
it's in a culture,
of
man.
femininity.
They don't
Okay,
understand
femininity
this.
is definitely an energy that a woman is going to
They
harness
want
a
these
certain
women to
type
act
of
like
thing,
American
but it
women.
definitely has
They
little
mad
to
that
do
brothers,
with
a lot of the good brothers
pandering
are
on
flocking
social
over to
media.
the
Feminine women
Philippines,
don't have to,
getting with
and
real women
what feminine women
that
aren't
treated them
are
like a man supposed to be treated.
they're not necessarily
I mean, when I went to the
like, you know what,
Philippines, it
I don't
blew my
want to give away.
mind. I wasn't
I'm gonna
used
let
to
the
the
video play.
treatment I
Y'all gonna
got.
see what I'm saying, but there's a difference between what is feminine
That
and what is
experience alone
acceptable.
changed my mind from ever wanting to date within my
Well,
country because I've never been treated like this in my
wear
life.
dresses and style our hair in an attractive way. We're frugal. Generally speaking, a Filipino won't go on extravagant shopping sprees even if we have the means. The dress.
Okay, so she's
She
saying
telling the
what?
truth. They're not
They're not
materialistic.
going to grow. They're not going to go on shopping spree.
They're not.
She's
You gonna make fun of that?
what woman is not going to go on a shopping spree unless her man don't have money,
Filipino
or she
women.
gonna have to cook herself?
I don't have
That's
to go
not
buy
even
them
unnatural. So you mean to tell
expensive
me that it's
purses.
not feminine
I
to
don't
go
have to spend a
shopping?
whole lot of money to
Well,
impress
she's
them.
catering to the broke dusty because let's just be
Oh
real.
wow.
Men who can afford
Well, she
women to go on
catering to the
shopping
broke
sprees.
dusty. Come on. Now this the talking point they always use in everything. They use the beta male shit. They says that they catering to the broke dusty. These motherfucking bitches don't know it costs money to get on a fucking plane to go to the Philippines. Costs over $1,000 to get on the plane, so you could be dusty and broke and pay $1,000 and have spending money. I mean, come on, lady, you don't have a clue. The guys in the U.S. you talking to might be dusty and broke or whatever, and she always putting us down. Why the fuck we want to be with somebody like that? She's really giving us all the reasons to go to the Philippines. I mean, if I had options, we have options to choose. I would choose dealing with a woman like Filipina P than dealing with a woman like Cynthia G. At least she's natural. She gonna treat me like a man. I ain't gotta pay for that expensive ass weave and high maintenance and all the shit that come with it. I'll be broke, disgusted, and I mean fucked up in the end. But the only thing they gonna say, oh, they want a green card. See, I give a bitch a green card, then to give a bitch my whole house and my whole life. And I mean, come on. But these bitches don't know. And to bring a woman to the U.S., you got to have a certain type of income. You can't be broke and dusty and bring a woman to the United States. It's income requirement to do that. But they don't have a clue. They don't have no facts. They're just speaking on emotions and hate, and they bitter because I mean the brothers are leaving them. They're not. We got options, and we don't have to put up with that. And if we can just get on the plane and go, they don't like that. They don't like that we have options and we have the power. They want us powerless. They want to control us, tell us what to do, and they want to be the man. You got to fight them to be the man. Then by the time you've been to punch them in their look and shit. They gonna call the police. Your ass going to jail, just like that, in that order.
They're really sitting up complaining that a woman is going on a shopping spree if they can afford it.
Right.
I never dated a Filipino woman
Right.
that wanted to go on a shopping spree. I dated many American women. Down first date, they want to go to Ruth Chris. They want to go get some shit at the mall, an outfit.
She said her dress. Let me rewind that. And I was really hoping it was only about $2.
Wow, they come out because her dress $2. In the Philippines, it ain't about name brand. It's not like in the U.S. All her comparison is based on stuff that happened in the U.S. She's not respecting the culture or their ways.
It really doesn't take much for us to feel safe and happy. We can cook.
The people who are not used to having money are generally the ones who spend it the most when
Bitch,
they
shut
come
the
into
fuck
contact
up,
with it.
bitch. You need me to let you hand
And
me.
notice like how it's starting to come out. She said exactly. Belmore said
With the
it was
American
like
woman,
it costs $2.
I mean, you
And
gotta
that's the
have
thing,
money.
Like she literally.
When you meet an
Like,
American woman,
she
they're gonna ask you
wants them to
where
come
you
over
work,
there, but does she
where you
want them
live.
to come over there
They're gonna
to
look at what kind of
partake
shoes
in
you wear.
the
They sizing you
Filipino
up, looking at
economy?
money.
No, because if the Filipino economy
You're gonna
was
need
going
money
to
with any woman, but
give
not a
them
lot.
what they
Need that
needed,
abroad.
then she
They're
wouldn't
not
be
gonna
on the
break the bank.
internet appealing to men from foreign countries. What she wants is the man that is
She
wealthy
have
enough
options to
to come
appeal to
over
men
with
in
what
certain
he
countries,
has
bitch. They're like we
and
have
put that
options.
up against the Filipino peso. Okay.
They don't
So like
understand.
she just told you,
This is like an
rate is
ignorant
what? She said that dress
conversation.
was
They should
100
have
pesos.
someone on the counter that
Okay,
know,
which would convert to $2.
like,
Were they
but
like,
they don't have a clue.
why do they got the same as Mexican money? Is that the same peso as in Mexico?
No, it's a different peso, and it's a different
Yeah, those some mad bitches. They mad as fuck.
it's a different conversion rate as well. You know, like the
They
Dominican
mad when they hear the women
peso,
saying how they
got
cater
this,
to us, they
like
treat
a
us
lot of
good.
different countries have pesos too. But yeah, they're
Filipino
their
people in
peso
the
is
U.S.
actually
They be
less
saying
than
they'll be trying to tell her,
the
you don't have to do
Mexican
that.
peso.
You don't have to clean. You a
Yeah.
fool, girl.
Oh, and Sequoia, thank you. She says my homegirl father, who's about 66, is paying child support for a 4-year-old child by a younger Filipino woman that he married less than a year of bringing here to her. She's now with a Filipino man. That, you know, I've heard that before. I actually had a client whose father
People
left
have bad
a
examples in our
20-something-year
relationship.
marriage to
I know
go
black
over
men
to
that
the
are married
Philippines
to
and marry
black
this
women,
younger
and they
girl
took all their shit
that he
and they
met
never
online.
recovered.
And when he got there, he didn't realize that what he had to do was build a house for
That
her.
nigga seem like you get with a black woman, or especially a woman like Cynthia G, your life gonna be
And
perfect.
basically, he's
Get the fuck
providing
out
for
of
the
here.
entire family.
I seen some guys like miserable. That's why they date
I
outside. That's why they go to the Philippines. She don't have a clue.
I
She don't know.
literally despise StreamYard. Like, even with the audio issues, there's audio problems.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do any more streams where I'm gonna that's how
Yeah,
I'm
most
gonna
of
do
them-
it. And I started in Zoom. I really did.
They got good value.
And know how to take care of a household. Unlike the dying art of cooking in much of the Western world, give up.
Why does this trick think that cooking is a dying art in the Western world? I just don't understand that. Just yesterday I told y'all what I was cooking, and a whole bunch of y'all told me what you were cooking. Like, say that the dominant culture is
Y'all don't cook every day.
Those are the families.
Whoop you do? You cook one day. These women cook every day.
That are, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop, like, to say
Listen to the music, y'all. Listen to. Cardi B said she don't cook, she don't clean,
First of all,
but she got a diamond ring. That's the concept that most of the women have over there. And I know this. I lived in the U.S. I dealt with women in the U.S.
You know what I'm saying?
They'll tell me I better go in the kitchen and cook my own damn
Well,
self,
you're not going to eat. A lot of these people.
or go get something to eat at the fast food restaurant.
Like the family did that. My client's dad married. They lived out someplace in the bush. Like, so no, you can't go to Starbucks.
They had a wrong perception of the Philippines. They had a wrong perception of what we do. The stuff that she's talking about is not valid.
And she'll cook you something that will leave you full and satisfied. I'm happy to say that I'm a pretty darn good cook.
They mad for these women being a woman and taking care of the men, and they mad.
Most of Filipinas I know would be happy just to spend their time with their mates, sharing the passage of time as a couple, not as two people who happen to have the same address.
Why does this Filipino woman have to shade Western women in order to make herself appealing? That's what I don't understand.
Because she apparently wants a
Y'all don't
Western
understand.
man.
Apparently.
They just don't understand, man. I'm telling you.
We're patient. We don't nag much. And we actually care about your opinion. Doesn't that sound refreshing for a change? And maybe the best trait of all, we're not consumed by careers and the desire for personal recognition.
Right.
We tend to have simple goals and we're happy just being who we are. If you find a good one, Filipinas can be among the most loyal women in the world, and we know how to keep our man happy.
She telling
Isn't
the
that
truth.
worth taking a closer look at? Even if it means totally
They need to take
restructuring your
notes
life and coming
and
to a
learn.
strange land with a strange culture? I guess you have to ask yourself.
Okay, so
Let me see something. Let me see. One thing that Filipino P is saying, she's saying things that like make men happy. I mean, most of you guys that listen to this, I mean, you want a woman, they're gonna do that. They're gonna cater to your needs. They're gonna treat you like a man. And I mean, everything she's saying is on point. Those are the type of women I want. She don't get the clue. Most of the men, and I'm sure I like black women. I love black women, and not all black women are like her. But sometimes, like we'll date outside the race sometimes because, I mean, we've been dealt with a woman like that. We want to try something different. We want a woman that's gonna treat us like a man. We wasn't happy. If we were happy, we would like still do date or whatever. But we not happy, so we go somewhere else to get that treatment. A lot of guys see like in Asia and the Philippines in particular, that the women take care of the men. They see the videos of the vloggers that's happy with their woman, and they want the same thing. Most of the guys they go there with influence, like people and couples they see on YouTube. Sometimes they'll see happy couples and they see the woman taking care of the man, and they say, "I want that. I need that in my life." I mean, they don't want to be at home arguing with a woman to be dominant. She putting them down. You ain't no man. You a beta man. You ain't like man. Come on, come on. They don't get a clue. They mad because this woman
she said
is saying
that,
stuff that
I mean, this is
make men
obvious to
happy,
me,
happy
a call
relationship.
to arms. This is, it must be something going on pretty bad over in the Philippines that this woman has to resort to
Yeah,
these
like
means.
black women don't divorce black men
Petition
and get child
for
support. It happens all the
American men
time.
to come over there and
A lot of
marry
black
them
men
because
is
they're
fucked
so
up
great,
right now.
even
Can't
though
get passport,
obviously
can't
their
travel,
men
do
have not done
anything
so.
because
Here's
they
the
dealt with a
issue,
woman that
though.
got them child support. Black woman like her, gold digging ass woman like her.
It's almost like if they were so great, you wouldn't be online doing this. And I just happened to look up some marriage statistics over there.
If
Why
American women
is there a
was
divorce
great,
rate that is
we wouldn't
not
be
that
going
far
to the
off from the
Philippines.
American
We'd be
divorce rate?
happy at home.
Why is there a prostitution problem? It's
The
really
prostitution
strange
problems
to
in the
me that
US.
a country that is
Fish,
riddled with
back
all
page,
these great women
people
is
horn on the
also
street,
one of those
OnlyFans,
places that have
on
the highest rates
Instagram.
of sex tourism.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well,
I
that's
see it
what I
every
was
day.
gonna say. You know, she's been up here talking about they don't do things for personal recognition, but she's on a YouTube video
Women in the US don't sell
pandering to
pussy.
Western men for personal recognition. She's doing the exact thing she's
Only
saying
the
she's
Filipino
not
women
doing.
do that, you know.
She wants Western men to see that she's a better option as a
She is a
Filipina
better
than
option.
a Western woman is.
She putting herself
Therefore,
out
she's
there.
sitting up there pandering. She
Ain't
might
nothing
as well
wrong
be
with that.
holding up a sign that says "Pick me, pick me." Is this
You
is really
pandering to weak
pathetic?
ass black women that been hurt.
And that's the thing, and just
Collecting
like
super
Cassandra
chats.
is saying, they got child
And weak black
trafficking
men
problems. Couple of our said it as
that's
well.
desperate.
There's all
They're gonna
types
bow
of
down
stuff.
just to be with you and be the better male. You're gonna dominate them.
This
I wouldn't be happy
she
in that
realized that
situation.
going to university and working is one of the best ways for women to meet high-value men in the Western world. I'm not sure she gets that, but see, she's appealing to a certain
The
demographic of
child
men.
trafficking problems
She's
as well. What
appealing
they
to
talking
the
about?
demographic of men that are in their minds
Those are a bunch of
downtrodden
bitter
and
women they
feeling
hurt.
like they can't
They're
get
not
the woman
happy.
of their choice
They're not
over
happy
here
that
in
we're
Western
happy.
society. She's
Why
appealing
are
to
they
them
complaining?
because,
I
again,
mean, what do they have to
these
do with
red
them
pill types,
who we
as we've
date?
seen in this space, as we've seen like in the Black Manosphere, we can
They're not complaining
literally
about
go
the
ahead
black
and
women that
whole
dating white
case
men. They not outside
on
their
that.
race.
These people
All my life
are
growing
the
up,
easiest targets
black
for women
women,
like
they
her.
always wanted
Women who are actually
babies with
trying
pretty
to
hair, green
secure
eyes,
and
all the
get
features.
resources from
They
men
didn't say,
just
"Oh, I
because
want
they
a
want the
baby with
resources, not
nappy
because they
hair."
want the relationship.
They wanted a baby
And
with
what
nice,
happens
good
to a lot
hair.
of these men, statistically, you go and you look and see what happens to these 90-day fiancés and these
That's their only
marriages to
record.
these
90 Day
women
Fiance.
is that
That's
they don't
TV.
last. And these women, a lot
In
of times,
real life,
often
it's totally
will
different.
end up marrying another
I
American
don't even
white
watch
male
90
or
Day Fiance because
bring some man
I watched
that
the
they
first
just
3
from the
seasons, but
Philippines over to marry them a
what I
couple
was
of years
seeing was
later.
disappointing
It's a
because
scheme.
it's not like
They're
that in real
simps.
life.
And the
They
thing
trying to all
about
the failed
simps is
relationships
every woman knows
for drama so they can put
when
on
a man
TV.
is vulnerable.
The ones they know they're not going to make it.
Okay.
Make the
But
show.
we know if the man shows us. And the red
I've
pill
known
community,
people that was happy.
the
They had
MGTOW
good
community,
relationships. The show didn't take
manosphere,
them.
all these guys make
The
their
show didn't take them.
insecurity so well understood. It's so pronounced. That's why it's easy
That show
for women
rigged.
who come into their spaces. They feel like the Jessica X's and places
But the
like
bitter
that.
women like her, they
boo,
watch
hey,
90 Day
Sam,
Fiance. They
these
see the men
people
get
come
played,
into
and
the
they think
space,
that
and what
happens
do
to
they do?
everybody.
Does this woman not
That's
sound like
TV.
Jessica X? Does she not sound like the many women that have come into the space who agree with everything?
She sounds like Jessica
This
X's
lady
wide wrist.
is
That's
doing what
she sounds
all the
like.
women do in the Philippines in her
She
culture.
does. She absolutely does.
She's not being Jessica
but
X.
you see what I'm saying? Though, when they make it
What this woman
easy
doing
for
is
these
natural.
because they see it. We see the weakness in these men, and she sees it. She knows
Well, there
that
you go,
all you
calling
gotta
us weak
do
again.
is
That's
what
what
she
they
has
talking
to
for.
go outside
That's all they can do.
and find a cat,
We
cut it up
weak,
and
we
stir fry
better.
with some vegetables, and throw some soy
We
sauce, and
dusty,
season
we
some rice,
broke.
and get them a
We
meal.
can't protect them.
Continue to buy $2 dresses for a couple of months until she gets in America with them, or either she
They're
gets
talking
to
about her
live like a
$2 dress.
queen
It's
off
so
of
materialistic. I'd rather be with the girl I buy the
the
$2
average
dress and look
American
beautiful
dollar in
in
her
than the
country.
woman I got to spend all my
You see
damn
what I'm
money, break the
saying?
bank,
She's
and be broke.
literally, I mean, she's
I got to
literally
keep spending
spraying
money.
them, and they don't get it.
But
But
with a Filipino
these
woman, I
men
ain't got to
are
do that. It don't take much to make them
all
happy.
you have to do is
It take a whole lot to make American women happy. I know that for a fact. Motherfucking woman in the U.S. will drain you dry.
Say that women should always
And when you ain't got nothing to offer, they'll go to the basketball clubs, rappers, people that got money.
And that women are only here but for the purpose
That's why
of
guys go
bearing
to the
children
Philippines
and
because
serving their men.
the women don't really require that
that's
much.
all they
Not
have to do.
what these women in the U.S. want.
That's all they have to do. And what are the
You got to
men
pay
saying?
$300 every
yeah,
week to get their hair did.
and not forget, throw other women under the bus. Try to put themselves
Why
in
you can't
position
wear
to
your
where
own hair?
like they're special. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I say a cat.
Filipina P ain't got to go get her hair did every
Or
week or get
both.
weed. She wear her
And no
natural
one
hair.
can say that that's discriminatory or racist because it is common knowledge and true.
I love seeing sisters that wear natural hair.
This is on the menu.
Natural with no
Thank you,
makeup
Karen
hardly.
Janelle, for the
There's some
super
beautiful
chat.
black
She said
sisters
she
out
might
there.
as well be saying me love you
And those are the ones I
Ryan.
like with no makeup, no weave.
Yeah.
That's proud of who they are, not trying to look like they Asian,
What is it you
look like
want
they
out of
China
life?
or whatever, China white,
What's
China
important
black.
to you?
And
What would make you happy?
you can
And
tell
that
she
brings us
analyzing this
back
on hate,
onto the Mick House.
looking for all the
Just for
negativity.
fun. Try Googling
That's it.
MGTOW.
Right.
The very first search result brands these men as a misogynistic, anti-feminist group tied to white supremacists and the alt-right. In my opinion, that's absolutely ridiculous.
So she said, in her opinion, it's absolutely ridiculous that the mainstream has branded these men as misogyny. They are proud of their misogyny. I've never talked to any of these men from these quote unquote MRA groups that don't are not happily celebrating the fact that they're misogynist. It's crazy that she's sitting up here trying to play spokesperson for men from which, came the umbrella of the groups like Elliot Rogers and stuff like that. These men are definitely they definitely have a track record for a certain type. Okay. So
if anybody complains, should it be the men, but we happy.
Like people
Yeah, they using
are
stereotypes.
just picking on them or
They have no
grasping at
clue what they're
straws,
talking
and
about.
This is not really happening. It's just insane.
Is it just me, or does it kind of sound like she's reading a script? And she
Yeah, it's script, but it's
it
on
just
point.
comes off that scriptish.
It comes off.
Y'all read scripts too
Look,
sometimes.
girl, if you want to
Bitch.
come over here with your horizontal vagina and find a
O'Shea
dusty
called you out one time.
that's gonna sip
Tommy
up on
did
you
too.
to do it. Come
Your
pick up
editing
some
was
of the
very
dusty
bad on your
trash.
audio because it was script. Hypocrite.
I bet you she runs some brothel over there. I just feel it.
She run a brothel. Man, there was some ridiculous stereotype.
Men who refuse to play the game in a system rigged against them. They rather work on themselves as individuals and find enlightenment through self-improvement. They're not even approved. There are no protests, no demonstrations, no apparent organization. Just individual guys who see through the smoke and the mirrors of the Truman Show they were living in. Now, most MGTOWs would rather be boiled in oil than ever consider marriage. And many of them don't even believe in long-term relationships. But some of them still entertain it as a possibility if the right conditions were met. And it's those men I'd like to address as I close. To them, I would say, think about the reasons why you became a MGTOW, and then look closely at the women and culture here. Now answer this one question honestly. If the women in your country were like the more traditional women here, would you ever have become a MGTOW?
Okay, let me stop there. Hold my mule, Jesus. Okay, so if the women of the United States were more like the women of her country, would she become a MGTOW? What does she mean? Women who sell their children into prostitution, women who I don't understand why this woman is up here
all
trying
to stereotype
to the fact that to some sort of
they put in all the negative
the
stuff.
Filipino women are over there like Mary
and stereotype stuff. I can say
doing
negative stuff about all the women there in the U.S.
Look at the demographic of men that she's pandering to, because usually MGTOW are unattractive. They have self-esteem issues. They have sexuality issues. They're non-select most of the time. I mean, they can say they're going their own way, but usually they're complaining about multiple failed relationships. So at some point, you have to look at them and figure out whether they know how to manage a relationship or not. So you have a woman who's clearly not selecting her country, who's clearly not getting the validation she believes she should get from her man.
Cynthia,
so she's pandering to one of the lowest forms of men in our country, because there's been a lot said about MGTOW, and I don't think that too much of it has been positive.
They
so
love
she's
putting us
basically
down.
going
they
to
love putting
a
down
group
black
of
women, black
basically
men.
like a scourge of society almost.
When women like Filipino Pete, a lot of other Filipino women lift us up.
No, you don't need a woman to complete you. And you don't ever need to put your assets at risk again. But maybe, just maybe.
How you don't need to put your assets at risk? She's petitioning for men to leave and move into a third world country to get one of them, like as if she's gonna help them move or something. It is putting your assets at risk anytime you live in a third world country. Anytime you leave, so you're taking a risk there. Anytime, any relationship that you enter as, I would say as a man, and I think most
you take
men
a risk anywhere,
understand this. When you enter a relationship, you are going to have to ascertain some financial risk. Okay, and it's not just risk; it's definitely you're going to
tell you, if you lose with a Filipino, it's not gonna be as much as you would lose with a woman in the U.S.
You're gonna have to pay for something. You have to assume some responsibilities. You're going to have to, you're gonna have to pay. So there's always finance involved in romance. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
What she doesn't
abroad,
understand
you don't have to spend a lot.
is that if there's a group of men
you don't have to break the bank
because the woman wants
you can buy the $2 dress for the girl she has.
Their money, they're not going to be interested in her because they're going to have to pay a lot of money to even get her here. And I highly doubt they're going to go
Bitch, it's not a lot of money.
Philippines on behalf
the
of
process
her. It's just not going to happen.
Doing the visa and the plane ticket cost like $3,500, $4,000 at the most.
Going to pay all that money that you have to pay to get a K-1 visa or any type of
all the women are not trying to come to the U.S. A lot of women, a lot of couples I know, they stayed in the Philippines. They didn't go to the U.S. and they were happy.
Before you do your pandering message.
I met a lot of women that didn't want to go to the U.S.
It's not about to pay for her to come over here.
No.
Before I met Rose, I was talking to women, and I asked them, would you like to come to the U.S.? And a lot of women, so many of them tell me that they didn't want to go. They had no desire to go to the U.S.
Should be unpacked though, because didn't y'all
some wanted to go to
like
South Korea and other places. Some wanted to stay in their country. They didn't want to come to the U.S.
He's not putting it into context. Issa Rae said that for a very specific reason. One of them being the fact that black men keep running around talking about how undesirable black women are. See, it's your job as a group of men to uplift your women, and you're too busy
a lot of them are
white
undesirable.
So
In
of
the
course,
Philippines,
Issa Rae is
I
going
fell
to
in
say
love
that
10 times
because
a day.
now
Nothing
you
but
made
beautiful
group
women
of
all
women
around
an
me.
outcast. Because really, let's just be real with this for a minute.
And they was
If
beautiful
black
because they were
men were
natural. They
uplifting
didn't have to put
black
on
women
weaves and
as the
makeup
beauty
to look
standard,
like something
black
that they're
women
not.
would be the beauty standard. Period. That's just the reality of what it is. But they're
Why
too
do I see so
focused
many
on
black women on my
non-black
Facebook?
features
They calling
to
themselves
see
China
any
this, China that,
value in
trying to
black
look like
women.
Chinese women and Asian women.
Right.
They're not
And I
happy with
mean,
being who
where
they
was
are.
about, like, our Filipino
Yeah, they
men
wearing
taking
Brazilian
evaluating
hair.
them with their, you know what I'm saying? I'm wondering now.
You gotta do a lot of maintenance on them women. Filipino women, you ain't gotta do no maintenance on. They good, how they look, how they are.
Woman. Hold up.
They don't need the damn beauty shop all the time.
Before everything went to hell back home. Just food for thought. After all, you're on my channel for a reason, right? Well, that's all for today, folks. But as always, I'm working on something new I think you'll enjoy. So stay tuned. Till next time.
Okay, so I'm only going to play this ending that she put on here because to me it actually shows what her real deal is. Okay, she didn't. When I say that I think that this woman possibly is in a brothel of sorts, I'm gonna tell you why. I mean, first of all,
she in a brothel.
obvious pandering, but let me just fast forward.
Man, that's crazy.
To her little plug, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. Because now we're gonna get down to it. I don't care what nobody say. This is.
I lived in the Philippines over 3 years. I never seen a brothel though. I seen bars, but she must be thinking about South America or something. I don't see no brothels.
And that could be why it sounds so scripted too, because she sounds like a script.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, do you have any idea how fast you were speeding? Speeding through my video?
And they keep saying she script. They script too. They do a lot of script.
I'm gonna let you go.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. She was prepared to get her message across.
Thumbs up on this video and subscribe to my channel. Got it?
I don't even want to watch her stupid videos.
Alright, out of the car. I think this one needs a full cavity search. The hard way. And for the rest of you good citizens,
I am currently in Colombia.
my other
In Medellin,
videos
I'll be
too.
back in the Philippines
Just remember,
the early part of next year.
anytime you want.
All right, so I believe that she's simply advertising for a brothel of sorts. I'm sorry. I think that was
These women sound so ignorant.
So this is what I
Yeah, any of you guys been to the Philippines? Have you ever seen a brothel there?
what was that?
I never seen a brothel. I seen
What
bars.
was that? I mean, that to me
I didn't see the
it's
brothels.
completely obvious because number one, and you know what? I didn't think about it, but she really is the Filipino Jessica X in a way.
These women don't have a clue.
Because why is this woman even, I mean, her entire channel is dedicated to them and basically making
Like City G channel is dedicated to tearing down black men.
Like better options.
Men that
Like
want to be happy to have options. We do have options.
Coco Noir says she's getting to the bag by any means necessary. I mean,
But they want to take our money. They want to take our house and everything. Now they want to take away our options.
Suckers. She sees
Damn.
a bunch of suckers that are wearing their insecurities publicly.
White men don't have to go through this
basically
shit.
walking around
I mean, they've been doing this
saying,
since the
"All of us that
Vietnam
nobody
War.
wants me, and
Before
I just
that,
want
going to
somebody
Asia, the women are not
to
complaining,
pretend like I'm the king."
but don't have an
So,
option.
she's willing to do that.
These women,
Okay.
I mean,
and for her
it sounds so
to be
miserable.
driving home the point of economics and how we only want the bare necessities. Yeah, it's real easy to talk about the bare necessities, and that's all you want when you don't have no damn running water.
They see it brothel.
When you don't have
it's not
no
flooding.
food.
Philippines not flooding with
When
brothels.
you don't what I'm saying, when you everything that you have is secondhand, yeah.
Right, when the bare necessities are the only thing that's available to you.
They say everything they wear is secondhand.
She would come
That's
into
a lie.
this environment, she would be wanting more.
Women wear new
Absolutely,
clothes.
that's
It's
what they
cheap
all
over
do
there.
whenever,
It is not
and it's
about the
like,
name
and I don't
brand.
even think it has anything to do
They
with
only basing it
being
on
Filipino.
the
But
perceptions
like
of the
all
U.S.
foreign women, when they get into the society, for the most part, they start to assimilate to Western ideals, and they want more. They may come in wearing a dress that costs 100 pesos, but when they get here, they're gonna want some Anne Klein. Okay, they're gonna want
the hoes
some
like you
stuff.
gonna teach them. They're gonna talk about the $2 dress.
They're gonna want the same thing.
Who gonna
that
teach them
every
that
other
though?
woman wants.
Who gonna teach them to want that?
they're not
Women
encouraging
like you.
people to live in their country.
You gonna talk about them and their clothes.
They're not.
You gonna say what name that is? See, I mean,
So yeah,
these bitches.
You're not gonna settle for living in the slums if comfort is available to you. That's it. It's just. It's
I didn't
not
live in
even
no slums in the
smart to
Philippines.
think that.
But that's their
Everybody
perception.
wants to be comfortable. Even her being
All
on
the women don't
YouTube,
live in no slums.
YouTube pays out in American dollars. So how much money, if she's monetized, is she making in U.S. money
He wouldn't sound so
in her
ignorant, man.
country? So, or I guess they do the currency conversion. So, but
They
the
don't
thing
know
of
what
it
the hell they're
is, she
talking
wouldn't
about.
be on here talking about people skipping through ads if she wasn't seeking comfort. She wants to be out of poverty, obviously, but yet she's pandering.
And some of you bitches over there want to be out of
There's
poverty.
something wrong with Western women for
I
wanting
done met
to
hoes
say.
over there that's on Section 8, got no money, EBT cards, and they're in poverty. I had one girl draining me dry. Over $1,000 a month, had so many bills and counsel her.
They think that women are
I never had a
supposed
woman in the Philippines that cost that much.
help them provide, have the children share responsibilities completely in the household financially.
Wow, Jerry, he said he wiped the first secondhand
everything.
clothes.
You know what I'm
She
saying?
does
So
well.
like
She ever buy anything new.
is just petitioning for Filipino women to be in the same
Clothes are so
position
cheap over there,
that
though.
she feels American women are in a couple of years.
I think I took Rose to the mall before I left. Got her like 5 dresses and shorts.
She didn't make sense.
Cost like maybe
She's talking
$40.
about women don't want to be traditional women, but then she's pandering to a group of men who don't want to pay money to have a traditional woman. In order for that woman to be a traditional woman, that man is going to have to be a provider, which means he's going to have to part ways with his money. So you can't.
We know that, but we're not spending the
those
same amount of money we
arguments.
spend in the
These
U.S.
women should be traditional, but these women also shouldn't.
We're not
require
giving them what we
money.
would give a woman like you.
Be able to have the money.
They got the
Somebody
expensive
gonna make
hairdo.
videos, or we gonna be
You
living
need
like
to
she living in the Philippines.
Michael Kors purse. Filipino women don't need all of that.
All you need.
Yeah, we spending money, but not the same money we spending with you.
I'm a nurse, and one of the CNAs was taking money from an older woman's wallet the whole time, smiling in her face, hardly.
They put down these Filipino women.
Because
some of they shady. Black women, I know still too.
That's an isolated incident. You're generalizing, but she literally just generalized.
And these women so full of hate, they bitter. You can hear it in their tone. And I think they got a channel full of people that's hurt,
from the same angles
that's bitter. They man left them for maybe a white woman or Asian woman. And
just something wrong.
I think more and more men now are dating Filipino women. They're seeing it. And now they're going to be attacking the Filipino women. Now they're going to probably be watching channels like my channels and other guys' channels that's happy and try to bash us because they're not happy.
Is what I feel like that was. That's the only thing that I can liken it to.
It's definitely scripted like one.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, her videos are quite.
They're saying she's pandering. They pandering too. She pandering to hurt women.
And you know what's interesting? You know what's interesting about the Dusties?
And that's why she talk about it all the time because she gets super chat. She making money off this.
Why
she have her own agenda.
Country with her? Why is she sitting up on YouTube giving personnel ads on why people should choose her rather than just already been chosen by a man of her group? You're in the Philippines. So no man out there seems to want you. No man out there.
There's more women in the Philippines than it is men.
Traditional woman.
The men sometimes are dogs over there. They go from women to women. They tried. Local men, they're exploring their damn options like we are. What's wrong with that? Is that wrong?
And a traditional woman would not
can we explore our options
when addressing a group of men, which she clearly did. This is a prostitute, and no one's going to make me think anything different.
She a prostitute.
Not there again.
Big few prostitute.
And I didn't even think of it like this.
They are both prostitutes to me.
I just thought that,
they want money. She even sent Daddy G made a video saying how she took so much money from this white guy. I don't know if you guys seen that video.
Using the police
well, she used this guy. She bragged about it on the video.
Them down if they don't like her video. Yeah, and she even made what I would think. Why I think that she might have been appealing to the dominant culture is because when she said she almost made a reference to using that nightstick on them in a cabinet in a way. That's how I took it. And you know how she's beating it in her hand or whatever. And think about it. It's long, it's black, and she was like, she's hitting it, and she's like, you know, I can have you under arrest and all that kind of stuff. I think that shit was weird.
Okay, I'm gonna show you in a minute.
Yeah,
YouTube channel.
Very, very subliminal. Very.
These women don't have no clue, man. I'm telling you, they don't have no clue whatsoever.
Known or stereotyped.
Let's show you guys. I'm about to They saying the same stuff over and over, calling the women prostitutes. But you could go on Cynthia G channel, think that channel, and then this channel right here. I got the link of the video in my community section on my page. You'll see it there. But I'm gonna put the link out here if you guys want to come on. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Um, because none of the stuff they said in this video is valid. They putting the woman down, calling her whores. I mean, that's the only thing they can do. Um, and they don't have a clue. The only reference they can use is 90 Day Fiance. That's all they can talk about is 90 Day Fiance. They don't have any real life experience or don't know people that actually have been successful and happy in relationships in the Philippines. Living in the Philippines, I met so many guys that happy. They've been married before. They dated women in the U.S. And a lot of times the women over there put them down and they wasn't happy. So the guys end up exploring their options. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but they making a big deal about it, about who we dating. I feel like we moved on in our life, that we're not a burden to them. We don't want to be with them. I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, nothing wrong with people wanting to be happy in their life. But the problem is they're not happy. So they don't want you to be happy. Hold on 1 second. Let me put this link out here. But they're not happy. So now they're gonna try to attack uh, guys like us that go abroad looking for happiness. I mean, most guys go there looking for happiness, looking for a good woman, and so many guys get lucky. I mean, there are some people that wasn't lucky. I mean, but there's a lot of people that was. A lot of people I know that I met that been married 20 years, 30 years, and they've been together a long time. Some people I know, they lived in the U.S. for a while, then they end up going back to the Philippines later on. Um, so everybody, I mean, even Jerry, he's married to a Filipino. They lived in the U.S. for a little while, then they end up going back to the Philippines. And a lot of people do that. Some people never go to the U.S. Um, like I said, I met some girls I was interested in at one time, and the deal breaker was that they didn't want to leave the country. Like I told them I wanted to travel and go other places, but they open to that. And a lot of the women they wanted to stay home. They wanted to stay near their family. They didn't want to go far away. Um, if they go somewhere, they wanted to be away for a little while. They didn't want to actually go live in other places. They were happy at home. But they got the wrong perception. They basing everything off what they see on the 90 Day Fiance, which they get people that relationship is pretty much already failed and doomed to put them on the show. They're not going to get people that's happy or are good candidates. They looking for flaws and they see that the people have problems and stuff, and then they put them on the show because they're gonna be great material for them. Um, if you watch the show, you can tell they get like dysfunctional relationships and relationships that don't really work. And that's why I quit watching it because I began to see that more and more. It show you that the foreign people, like the people from the U.S., we look like fools because we get women and the women get men and bring them over and they get played a lot of times. And that's the angle that the show you. It don't really show you a lot of people that's successful. Some of the successful people, I mean, they move on. They don't even bring them back on to the next season sometimes because the people they happy, they don't want to show that perception. They want to show drama and they want to show some chaos. So that's very messed up. But that's not of Americans, expats in the Philippines. You're right about that. And the thing that bring them to the Philippines is, I mean, they go there for the beautiful women and also the women know how to cater and take care of the man. A lot of men are very happy with that. I mean, but these women are not happy that we're happy. I got Jerry on the counter. What's going on with you, Jerry?
Hey Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, just doing a lot of running around today, getting a bunch of stuff done, which is cool. I mean, it's, registration of my bike and stuff like that. So, but I just kind of caught kind of the tail end here. I presume you're talking about Western women in the black community. I presume that are kind of
Yeah,
mad at black guys going to the Philippines to get women
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know
it's
what?
good.
They're bitter, right?
Yeah, I mean, can you tell by
It's
the tone? Can you hear the tone of
yeah.
hate? And they
I've heard
looking
of
for all the
other
negative stuff.
yeah, I've heard of other videos on that topic. White women, it's not as prevailing in the white community. You know what I mean? You don't get as much of a hatred towards white guys going to the Philippines, picking up Filipinas, or hooking up with Filipinas, with white Western women. Probably not as bad as the black community. Some in the white community, some of them understand. You know, it seems like all the cool white women that I met, they all know what's going on about how feminism is kind of taking over the first world countries and stuff, and they understand why guys like us go to the Philippines to get women, or to get together with women or marry women or have a girlfriend or whatever. So it's not as prevalent in the white community, but it's really kind of crazy in the black community, man. I mean, I've seen some channels where it's like, damn, they're really cutting down these Filipino women and stuff like that. And because they can't compete. The Filipino women are by far, show up, the first world women, and without any problems, if my first wife could have just done half of what my second wife does for me, damn, I probably would have stayed in my first marriage, man. So
You're right about that, Jerry. I hear a lot of guys say the same thing. A lot of guys they show me pictures of their ex-wife, and they be beautiful women, and they say this woman was like beautiful and nice, but they wasn't happy because they had to like fight to be the man. The woman didn't take care of them. The women neglect them, put them down sometimes, and they end up in divorce. People divorce because they're not happy. And then,
yeah,
I mean, you got options. I mean, you don't supposed to stay in misery. I mean, things not working out, you move on. And then, I mean, like you said, even in the white community, I mean, white guys been going to Thailand, Philippines for a long time. Even, I mean, back in the 50s and 60s during the war, a lot of the white guys
right,
were going there. A lot of them divorced their wife and married a Thai woman, married a Filipino woman, no big deal. I mean,
right.
the woman she move on. I mean, she might marry another white man, or she might marry outside her race. It's not a big deal. They don't look at that. But the black women like her can be so petty because I mean they be with black men, they're not happy. Then like we leave and get with other women, they're still not happy. It's hard to satisfy them. You listen to when she's talking about the girl wearing a $2 dress, wearing secondhand clothes or whatever. I mean, what's wrong with wearing a cheap dress? It ain't about name brand.
It's not even
I
really a
mean,
cheap dress, dude. I mean, my wife finds all kinds of like brand name clothing in secondhand stores. You know what I'm saying? She's actually, I mean, she can find, I don't know what these, Christian Dior and all this shit. She finds that stuff for 70, 80% off, man. She's actually happier when she spends less money on clothes, and the clothes are nice. I mean, I never really shopped at secondhand stores till I met my wife. And then I started going. I mean, I buy shorts. I kind of. I mean, there's a lot of nice secondhand stores nowadays. It's not like when you say secondhand store, they think of the old Salvation Army stuff. You know what I mean? Which is really, really gritty, really nasty clothing and all that. Nowadays, they got all kinds of companies out there that open up. I mean, some of these places I found in Chicago, dude, they're as big as supermarkets. You know what I mean? And they got like all kinds of clothes and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you can walk in there with like, damn, $30 and just walk out with a bunch of stuff. I mean, I used to fill up balik bayan boxes and send them to Bud Brown to pass it out to people in the Philippines here for $100, man. I'd pack that box, man, and then just send it out to them. You know what I mean? $100 worth of clothes. That's a lot of stuff, and shoes and all kinds of stuff.
right. I mean, even when I dated Rose, she wasn't into name brand stuff. I took her to the mall and bought her brand new clothes. Before I left, I bought her like 4 or 5 dresses, spent like maybe $40. That's not a lot of money. Even my ex girlfriend, she went to the mall, got a dress, like might have been like $5 or 1,000 pesos. I mean, not 500 pesos or whatever. She was happy with that. So I mean, I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, they talking about the girl wearing the cheap clothes, but In the Philippines, it ain't all about that. It's not about name brands. I never had a girl demanding name brand clothing from me. I never had that happen. They looking at it on a whole different perception. They
Well,
trying to compare them to American women because they talking about the women cooking and cleaning. Isn't their culture to take care of the man? Isn't their culture to do this? It's natural for
yeah,
them
you
to
know
do
what?
this. We don't ask for this. They do this naturally for us because that's what they do. All the women do this.
With the women, they're gonna be wearing that really name brand stuff, or generally the rich Filipinos here. They're gonna be doing the name brand stuff, or the Filipinos that are OFWs in Europe. That's where they're gonna bring all that that brand name stuff back to the Philippines and stuff.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? So you can find a lot of nice stuff in secondhand stores if you know what you're looking for. But again, all the stuff I brought here that I stocked up on different size clothes and shorts and all that, that's all secondhand stuff, man. And I'm fine with that. Because, I mean, hey, I'm not going to be walking around with a three-piece suit or anything like that here in the Philippines, that's for sure. You know? So it's shorts and t-shirts here. Unless I'm going to a wedding or something like that, I wear a nicer shirt or something. But again, it seems that, and that's a good sign when you got a wife that does that or a girlfriend that does that, because she's saving money too, you know? Because my wife, she likes to save money. Why should she pay $30 for something when she can get it for $5? You know, so
Right.
nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem
These
with that.
women have a misconception too that all these women want to leave the Philippines and go to the U.S. and they want a green card.
No, not all of them. I had to drag mine to the U.S. Not
I
all
met
of
a
them.
lot of women over there that didn't want to go to the U.S. They had no desire. A lot of
Right.
guys that's married to Filipino women, they live in the Philippines not by their choice, but their wife wanted to stay there, want to stay near the
Right.
family. They didn't want to go over there. They wasn't impressed about being in the U.S. They love their country. They love their family, and they was okay being there. They didn't want to go to the U.S., but they
Yeah.
basing everything they see on 90 Day Fiance, Jerry. They don't have no experience
Yeah, but
about
it's all
real
fake
people.
shit. That's
They
all
they
fake.
basing it on what they see on TV.
Yeah, that's really fake. If anybody, I would recommend do not follow what they do in 90 Day Fiance, because obviously, if you follow what they do, that's recipe for disaster. You're most likely going to get divorced, and a lot of them do get divorced or separate and go on their own ways. Because it's just they don't follow they don't study the culture. They just go over there. Some of them, have a baby right away. You know what I'm saying? Others will just get married really quick, and then all they're doing is arguing the whole time. I mean, man, I didn't go through none of that. Yeah, none of that. I was
Right.
going to tell you a little story about. I just met a French dude. He was telling me about his story. The guy's like, I think he's like my age, 62. He just retired, and his wife is like in the mid 40s or something. So he brought her to to France, right? So they lived there for 7 years, and they came back to the Philippines, and she didn't like it. She went back to France. I think he had a daughter, because she liked the life over there better. So they got separated. He said, "Fuck it, you go home. I'm staying here." So it could go the other way too, Jay. You'd be surprised, man. Where they don't want to come back to the
They
Philippines.
have to
Also.
ask them what are their priorities, family or money.
Yeah, because the woman was making money. That's what it was.
What do they marry for? For man, money?
I don't know. Who knows?
Tell them. Ask their partner.
You still there, Jay? You might have got disconnected.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back in. Yeah, like you said, Jerry, before can you hear me?
Yeah,
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 I hear
yeah. I
you.
didn't know if
Okay,
you were
yeah,
still there.
before I got off, like you said, that a lot of women, I mean, they satisfied with being in the Philippines. Like, what was it that brought, like, made your wife want to come to the Philippines, to come back? 'Cause I know y'all was living in the U.S. and then you ended up back in the Philippines. Why did she want to come back? Was she happy in the U.S.?
No, man, we talked about that before we got together. Before we got married, my wife said to me, I go, hey, I don't have a problem marrying you, but she goes, I'll marry you if you retire in the Philippines. If you don't retire in the Philippines, I don't want to get married. So I said, cool. I mean, I already knew I liked the Philippines, so I was gonna retire in the Philippines. So I'm like, I'm good with that. So, but she came to the U.S. At first, she didn't want to, but she did, and I kind of showed her the advantages of coming to the U.S. And she did, took advantage of the advantages there.
You make
And
money.
yeah, she got a job, made some money, got her citizenship. And then once all that was done, we just came back, and that was cool. Story I just said about the French dude.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah,
heard
I
that.
mean his wife. Yeah, his wife went to France with him, brought her to France. They had a child. They came back to retire in the Philippines, and within a year, she went back to France because there she's making money. It's all like I don't know, a nicer apartment, that kind of stuff. And it's like her priorities are kind of, I think, not quite there. You know what I'm saying? So he told her, go ahead, go back to France. And the guy stayed in the Philippines. I just talked to him this morning. So yeah, sometimes some Filipinos they want to come back and others don't, and others can't because they didn't save enough money or they were sending the money. I met Filipinos that were in the U.S. working their whole lives, 30 years there. They're in like close to retirement. They've been sending their money back home to the Philippines, but their relatives blew it all, spent it all. So they're stuck in the U.S. They can't come back because they got nothing to come back to. So that's
Right.
that's
Some women come over too. They can't adjust. They're not happy, and
yeah,
sometimes they don't feel it fit in. They feel like they feel homesick, and they want to come back home. And
yeah,
I had a friend, like one of my subscribers. They applied to be on the 90 Day Fiance show. I'm gonna tell you what they usually do. The process. He tell me that they question you. The producers ask you all kind of questions. They really try to probe to see what kind of problematic like problems you have in your relationship. They ask you how do you and her get along? Y'all have any problems? But in their situation, everything was good, and they wasn't interested in people like that. But if they
right,
probe and see you got existing problems and see stuff that they can work with on the show, then they put you on there. You don't normally
right.
see people like when they introduce people already, you see that this ain't gonna work out. Like the first
Yeah.
time they show the couples, you already know like you see the differences, and they make good TV right there. They make good TV, but it's boring. I guess if everything is going so good. Like
Yeah, I mean, they would never have myself and my wife on the show like that. It just,
no, you wouldn't make it on the
but
show.
they should, right. I mean, well, you know what though? Because they got like usually about 5 or 6 couples at the same time, right? That they follow their lives. They should at least put one couple that's actually doing well on there. You know what I'm saying? That's drama free, and maybe like have the other 4 or 5 couples that are into drama. But no, and every couple is into drama. It's really, really weird. And people think, huh? In 90 Day Fiance, it's all drama, man. So yeah, it's I don't even know what do they get paid like 500 an episode or $1,000 a show or something like
Something
that.
like that. Like it's not much. It's not much.
Right.
They're making a killing off this show. But in the beginning, I watched it, but I started watching it like maybe after the third season because I began to see what they was doing. I never seen people successful or happy. They always showing like they show one side of it, and I began to see what they was doing, and I like wow, because in real life it's totally different. There's people that's actually happy and that's doing good. They had one couple. I still follow them on social media. I forgot that guy. He from Florida though. He worked at McDonald's. And they were living in an RV, and now they buying a house. And he very happy. I wonder why they didn't bring them back on the show. That was a very good couple.
Which guy is that? Which guy was that?
It was a guy from Florida. And he married a Filipino woman. The one that I think that was the one that the lady said you rude. You rude. Uh the guy didn't eat the lechon. And I mean in the beginning the way it started off it was funny, but then the guy was kind of weird acting, but in the long run, they ended up working out. Things got good for them, but the show quit following them. They're like, but I still follow them on YouTube, and I follow them on other platforms, and they happy. The guy, he was a manager at a McDonald's or something.
Oh, okay. And then they took him off the show because it's just not enough drama.
Cause they everything's perfect for them.
Okay.
They got a perfect life. They doing good. But the show don't want to show you their perception. They want to sell you people that have problems and struggling in their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of sucks because there are people that are doing well. They got married and doing well. They should mix it up a little bit. Uh, but maybe I guess
Right.
they figured they'll lose viewership or something like that. There's enough
I don't
stuff.
like the narrative they selling because you got people like Cynthia G's and other people they use that as reference and think that all the relationships are like that. They think all the
Yeah,
women want a
yeah,
green
that's what's
card.
sad.
They think
Yeah.
all the relationships end up fail. And like it's actually a lot of people I know that's happy. Um,
Hmm.
and people that they I mean even the woman, Filipino woman and the guy's happy. They're not complaining. And I don't see what the big problem is. Yeah,
Yeah.
Larry. Yeah, Larry. Jen and Larry. Yeah,
Jen
that's
and
that
Larry.
couple. Yeah, I like them. They good. I still follow them on social media. And they got a YouTube channel. And they came a long way. I seen them grow. I see them starting out simple. And
They got
this
a they got a
woman,
YouTube channel.
yes, they got a YouTube channel.
What's it
And
called? Do you
I
know?
think Jen and Larry
Oh,
is
okay.
their name.
I like that one that Rayman just said. No Neck Ed and Rose. Rose is getting popular now. She's doing modeling and shit like that. So
Yeah,
you know which one
Rose
I'm talking
blew up.
about, right? No Neck Ed, that short dude from California. No Neck Ed and Rose from Philippines, from the
Yeah,
Manila area. Yeah.
yeah. They both got some. I think he got some deals from there too.
You
They
did?
both had opportunities from that show, and it might have been playing. I don't know,
Hmm.
but like I said, I just don't see the problem though these women having with guys. They wanted to go try something different. Even I know like a lot of black guys. You can find them in the Angler City area. They was in Clark uh, base up there when it was open. A lot of them when they closed the base, they stuck around. They didn't go back to the United
Right.
States. I mean, 'cause it's great quality. I guess they might have found in the women there, and they looking at the pretty much typical stereotype that they hear from other people, and then they say the girl body look like a teenage boy. I mean, in the Philippines, women have all different shapes and sizes. All women, you got the skinny women, you got some women that got curves also. There's a
Right.
variety of women there. I mean, for whatever suit your taste, you can find it there in the Philippines. All different types of women. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah. You can get whatever you want here, man. There's all different kinds of women. Uh, tall, skinny. I mean, not a lot of tall women. Usually they're on the petite side, but I've seen a few that are tall. There's some that are thick, some that are slim. Again, all different kinds of personalities and here and stuff. So I think you got definitely got a lot more choices here in the Philippines than you do in the U.S. Especially if you're looking into that, middle age bracket. Because I mean, hey, man, once a woman hits 45 in the U.S., man, I don't even mess with that. It's rare to find a woman that's above 45 that's really got it together. Very rare, but
Right.
it's
What you
rare.
had to say about this too? She made an issue about why the Filipino women not with their own, why they're not with the local guys, why they seeking foreigners. Can you answer that? Can you answer why
Well, there's
they're not with
there's
the
different
local
reasons
guys?
for that. Yeah, there's different reasons. If you look at there's three. If you look at the rich Filipinos, you're looking at rich class, the upper class, middle class, and the lower class, right? So if you look, and I look at all the expats that I see here with Filipinas, here in Dumaguete, all right, and I would say 90% of them are probably with lower class Filipinas. And especially with the wide age bracket Filipino relationships. Okay, so the guy that's 60, the girl that's 20, 25, she's generally coming from a lower class of the Philippine community. The rich Filipina is not going to marry a foreigner. That's really really rare. She's going to marry another rich Filipino. Okay, the middle class Filipina, she's educated, she's probably got college under her belt. She's going to marry a Filipino that's got college under his belt, and they can make a decent living. See what I'm saying? Working in a call center or whatever. They'll make a decent living with both incomes. It's when the lower class Filipina, that's the ones, she doesn't have a lot of choices because she's not going to marry a lower class Filipino. He ain't got no money, right? Or he's just going to knock her up and move on to the next girl. So she's going to be stuck raising kids on her own and probably passing the kids on to her parents to raise or one of her relatives. So that's generally 90% of the guys that I meet here, and I meet with their Filipinas, and a lot of them have young Filipinas that they're hooked up with. These girls come from the province, very provincial, and that's what I see here. Now, is
Right.
it different in the
There
big
are.
city? I don't know. You tell me in Manila. You're in Manila.
I mean, there are instances where I've seen like a higher tier Filipino woman marrying a foreigner. One I know, like Brian McKnight. He's an R&B singer. He's married
Right.
to he married to a dentist in the Philippines. He's a
That's
dentist and he
rare.
married. And then I got a friend. He's a construction manager in D.C. and he
Hmm.
married a lawyer in the Philippines. He was an attorney. They've been
Right.
together for like maybe 5 or 6 years, and they're still together. And he's a construction manager, and she's
Right.
an attorney.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jay. I mean, if I was coming to the Philippines and say I got married to a professional woman, and it's not a problem. I can get me a professional woman here if I wanted to. But the problem is she ain't got no time for me. She's working all the time. See what I mean? So I'm not even going to bother with that. And I think that's the mentality of a lot of the expats out here. It's not that they can't get the professional women. I mean, some of them can't. But there are expats that could get professional women that choose not to because these women don't have the time of day. They don't have the time to be hanging out with them. They're retired and she's still working. See what I'm saying? So that's the thing.
Right.
So
But
it,
the
would- it
thing
would
is,
be like,
if they're professional women, I mean, they have the resources to hire maids and hire people to take care of the house. And I'm sure that they might make quality time for each other. But that's one good thing about they in the upper tier. A lot of people in the upper tier have servants, they have drivers, and all the luxuries in life to make
right.
it and to be okay with it. I mean, because they, like you said, they busy in their professions, but they have the luxury of having like multiple people. They might have a whole guest house where just people that work for them stay in. I've seen that a whole lot over there. And like
Right.
you said too, it's very rare that we marry in the upper tier like that, but it happens, but not. It's usually a rare occasion. I have seen it before.
Right. I mean, think about it, man. I'm coming to the Philippines. I'm looking for a wife that's going to take care of me. I mean, I don't need one bringing in the money. I mean, for my situation, I need one that's going to take care of me. I don't need one to go out and get a job and make a bunch of money to help pay the bills. I don't need that. So I guess it depends what situation that you're in, you know. Uh, but that's just the way I look at it. But that's what I see here with all the expats that I'm running into. Yeah, they all got one. None of their wives or girlfriends, none of them work. None of them. I mean, they might do a little side gig here and there, sell some clothes or something on the side or something, or sell some food or something like that. Or some have a YouTube channels. Some of these guys' girlfriends. But overall, nah, they're all
What
basically.
What do you think about too? She said like all the women over there are whores. Even are you familiar with Filipina P? Are you familiar with her
Yeah,
channel?
yeah, I've seen her channel. I've watched a couple of videos, and I really don't follow her channel. I think in my opinion, from seeing her channel, the way she presents the videos, I really don't like. It's like she's reading off of a script. She's catering. You got to look at her subs. A lot of her subs are guys that probably will never come to the Philippines. You understand what I'm saying? They're simps. These are guys that will never come to the Philippines, and she caters to this kind of subscribership to make money off these guys. That's just my opinion of that channel. You know. But what
And
was
that's
she
great.
saying?
That's great. That's great marketing though. I mean, everybody have
Yeah.
a crowd that they cater to. Even the Cynthia G, she catering to bitter women that hurt by men like myself or black men that date outside of
Mhm.
our race. And just because we date outside our race, sometimes don't mean that we hate women in our race. 'Cause I'm attracted to the women in my race, but I like the ones that got the natural hair, natural beauty, that ain't wearing the Brazilian hair. That can be who, I mean, when they take all that off, they still look beautiful. They do not cause. I mean, I don't like women that they take a lot for maintenance. But that, if I get a woman like that, they're gonna hit my pockets. That's too much to deal with.
Did she do a video on that topic?
I mean, on their
Did
channel
she
all
do
the
a?
time, that they catering to the people. All her videos are about people and
Mhm.
black men in particular that they outside of the race. Do you feel even me from a white man? How do you feel? Do you think that as black men we should have options? That there's nothing wrong with us having options in our dating,
Nothing wrong with having what?
having an option, having options when it comes
No,
to
there's
dating
nothing
women.
wrong. I mean, what I see here in the Philippines is that it's really not about white or black. It's about green. See what I'm saying? It's about money. Okay. I think the Filipinos don't really look at race as much as say like in the United States or in other countries. Filipinos don't really care if you're black or white. I think as long as you can come here, you're good to the women. You can support them and put a roof over their head, buy them food, and support them and treat them nice. They don't give a shit if you're black or white. That's what I see. But that's just my opinion.
Right.
You know, I don't see
Do-
racism here towards the black community. I don't see that.
but I'm not really familiar with the Filipino Pete channel. I've seen a few of the videos, but I'm not really familiar with her. But do she
Right.
come up to you as a whore or a prostitute? Because they would do
Nah,
women say,
nah, no. She doesn't come out as a whore or prostitute. She's obviously being coached by somebody. I think she's probably with an older foreigner. She's that kind of chick. She's here in the area where I'm at. She's in Valencia somewhere. I haven't seen her yet because I go up to Valencia a lot at the red tables. I sit at that restaurant in that area on Sundays. But she comes up there. She's done some videos up there. She's in that Valencia area. You know
oh,
what?
okay,
Smart girl. She's got some education. I think she was educated in. I don't know if she got the education in the UK or whatever she did. Smart girl. She hooked up with a couple of the big vloggers like Rike and Paul, boosted up her subscribership, and then got rid of these guys. See what I'm saying? Like distance from them because these guys are being trolled and all that, and she didn't want to get trolled. So she just used them to boost up her subscribership and then just distance herself. And then it just took off. Her channel just took off. She's probably knocking down about $1,000 to $1,200 a month with her viewership and stuff like that. So she's doing quite well. That's for sure.
right, and that's a good hustle. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm sure Cynthia G probably making way more than that with her crowd that she coming to. What do you think
Yeah, I
about the
mean,
question they asked? The guy asked the question. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. He said,
which one?
just as a man being able to have options, period. Dating different ethnicity group is human nature.
Well, I mean, there are certain ethnic groups that won't date outside of their ethnicity. Okay, so it just depends. But I mean, you come into a third world country. Like, for example, if you go to Thailand or if you go to Vietnam, them girls, hey, in Vietnam, they don't Vietnamese women. I mean, I'm kind of familiar with the Vietnamese community in the U.S. They don't date. It's rare that they date outside of their race or that they marry outside of their race. And Thai women the same way. I mean, yeah, there's guys that get married to Thai women, but in general, Thai women will marry Thai guys in general. You know, but yeah, so it just depends which country that you go to in Southeast Asia.
To the people that's not familiar with Jerry, I check out his channel, Philippines and Beyond. Um, like I said, I know your story is like pretty much you was married before at one time.
Yeah.
Am I right about that? How long were you
Yeah, I
married?
was married 3 years. 3 years.
3 years, okay. You ended up divorcing, and then you ended up
Yeah.
marrying your current wife, which is Filipino. I mean, what brought you
Right.
to a Filipino woman? Was you looking for a Filipino? How did that happen?
You know what? I had friends that were married to Filipinos, and they were pretty happy in the U.S. So I decided to give it a shot and come out to the Philippines and see, what the Philippines is about, and that's how I met my wife. So, unless you actually, it's not that easy for a lot of guys to step out of their comfort zone and leave their country and just come to a third world country and all of a sudden just to go meet somebody. You know what I mean? Uh, so again, you got to step out of your comfort zone. You got to have a little bit of adventurism in you. You got to be adventurous. You got to be willing to do it. You got to be willing to get on a plane. There's guys that are just afraid to get on a plane for 16 hours, to go somewhere. So, but I had some friends who were married to Filipinos in the U.S. Happy marriages, happy relationships. I think one guy, he might have been married close to 10 years. The other guy was maybe around 3 or 4. So that's why I came out, because you don't want to stay single the rest of your life. I mean, I was a bachelor till 52. That's when I got married my first time. Then I got divorced at 55 and stayed single for a couple years. And then got remarried at 57. So again, it worked out for me. I found the right person. I mean, we've been married. Hell, this is the longest marriage and relationship I've ever been in my life. I'm going on 6 years, 5 years of marriage and 6 years of knowing my wife. So far so good, man. Keep the fingers crossed. Right?
So would you say you having a great experience dating a Filipino? Do you think you made a great decision marrying a Filipino woman?
Yeah, I kind of met my wife. I mean, you know my story. I met my wife early on in my trips to the Philippines, right? The first year I came out, I think I might have talked to a few women online, but when I first came out, I was supposed to meet 3 women on my first trip, but I only ended up meeting one, and that was my wife. And she was cool and everything, and showed me around Manila and stuff like that. And I had such a good time that I came back 3 months later. We stayed in contact, talked every day on Skype and stuff. And I'd come out every 3 months and get to know the Philippines and get to know her as well. So for me, it worked out. I wasn't coming out here to. My intention wasn't to come out here and bang women. That wasn't my intention. I had plenty of women in the U.S. So you got a lot of guys that really were kind of maybe awkward in the U.S. They weren't popular, or they didn't really hook up with very many women when they were younger and stuff. So when they come out to the Philippines, they just go crazy. See what I'm saying? Well, for me, it was the opposite. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, man. Again, being a bachelor till 52, that's a long time. I mean, I would go through women like I just changed my socks and stuff. So for me, it was kind of a different reason. I was looking more for to get married, if I was going to get married, or more of a long-term relationship. And it just ended up that I ended up marrying my wife. And again, if you're coming out to the Philippines, guys, and you really got to, you meet somebody that's really cool, and you're thinking about it, they don't do long courtships out here. Filipino women ain't going to date you for 2, 3, 4 years before they marry you. It just doesn't work that way out here. Usually traditionally about a year is about right to date, and then people get married. That's how it is. Sometimes even shorter than that. But you're not going to come out here and string a woman on for 3, 4 years. They ain't going to go for that. So, there's other vloggers that talk about that. Date them for 3, 4 years before you make that decision. Bullshit. They're selling you a pile of shit is what they're selling. It just doesn't work that way here. What do you think about that, Jake?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, most women in the Philippines, things kind of take off fast. I mean, after you date them for a little while, I mean, even in 6 months or a year, they sometimes looking into the future, looking into marriage, sometimes looking into building a family. And because, I mean, things are different in their culture, especially like
Right.
when a woman get like 30 years old, a lot of times, I mean, they kind of look at it as an old maid if they're not married. So things kind of take off fast there. I mean, it's a whole different culture. It's not like in the United States. I mean, you go
Right.
through the courtship, you get to know them, but then they're ready to go to the next level, like in time. Like they don't see it going to that level, then sometimes they might look for other people because most of them want to be married. Most of the women, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
big thing being married and having kids.
Yeah. It's a Catholic, very Catholic country. Uh, but the thing is, that can be a negative against you as well, because if you don't see the red flags, 'cause things can go pretty fast here, right? And if you don't see the red flags and you marry the wrong one, ugh, then it's a lot of hassle. It's going to be a lot of bullshit that you're going to be going through. Because at first I thought, hey, there's a lot of good women, a lot more good women here than are bad women. But as I meet more and more expats and the stuff that they're going through, actually there are a lot more bad women here than there are good women here. I'm gonna have to change that to that. So
Like when
I've
it came to
seen, I've
dating, when you were dating,
yeah,
ethnicity play a part of it? Like, was you open to dating different types of ethnicity, or what? Like what? How did that play about?
Well, I have. I mean, when I was in the States, I dated outside of my race a lot. So I have no problem dating outside of my race. Because again, my family don't really give a shit what I do. So I think a lot of people don't date outside of their race because they're afraid of what their family's going to say to them and stuff like that. For me, I've always been independent, so my family never really questioned me of who you're dating or why are you dating this person or why are you dating that. I'm kind of my own person, so I don't have that issue. But you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people in the U.S. that have that kind of issue, and they're afraid to again step out and do something that's out of the norm in fear of maybe antagonizing some family members or something like that. So
Right.
I
'Cause
don't have a problem.
when it came to dating, I've always been open. I don't really look at race. I'm just
Yeah,
open to dating good people. If I find a woman with good qualities, I mean, if we got good chemistry, I'm gonna date her. 'Cause I'm pretty open. It's not like I'm looking for, oh, I gotta have a Filipino, or I gotta have a white woman, or I just look for a good woman. And my options are open to women in my race also. But like I said, a lot of time in my race, the women that I'm interested in, they're not really interested in a person like me. I don't make a big deal about it. Sometimes I just move on to the person that's interested, the ones that catch my attention. And it's not based on their race. It's mostly based on their character. Can I get along with this woman? Is she a good woman? That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at their color or their nationality. That's not really important to me.
right.
Because there's
But
women's in my race that's not good. But they push the narrative that like all our women are good. I seen guys right now. I even got family members their life is messed up because they dated women within their race that did them wrong. They took all their stuff in the divorce and left them in a hurt way.
well, right. As you get older, it's kind of tough to get married in the U.S. because, say, you worked all your life, you saved a few dollars. You don't want to like all of a sudden get married and damn, you got to lose half your shit. And you're like say in your mid 50s or something. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to restart all over again, and you're close to retirement and all that. So for me, when I got married at 52, there were certain things I had to, I didn't do a prenuptial or anything like that, but I married a woman that had a little bit more assets than I did. Her net worth was more than mine. So if the shit goes down, and she's not going to really fuck with me because I'm the one that's going to come out. See what I mean? So,
Right.
so when it was time for me to ask for that divorce, I said, "Hey, it's time to move on. It ain't gonna happen here." And it was cool. We didn't commingle our money, and she just signed it. We didn't use no lawyer. She signed the papers. We shut down one account, and I just did the whole process myself. Myself, I think it cost me altogether $600 court costs. That was it. Then I moved my shit out, and I was gone. That was it.
And would you
So
say that your experience dealing with a Filipino, you're dealing like with an American type woman, would you say that it's different in ways like when you dated like in a Western woman, did she take care of you or cater to you like the Filipino woman
that's
do?
Well, that's why I said earlier. Remember, I said if my first wife could have done half of what my second wife now does for me, I probably would have stayed in that first marriage. But my first wife was cool. Don't take me wrong. She was cool in a lot of ways, but she had some influences from her liberal friends. You know what I mean? Uh, it was. I'll give you a quick example. We went to see another couple. All the couples that I've met that were friends of my wife's, the husbands were all simps. They were weak. Okay. One time we went to this one couple's house. I'm sitting in the kitchen and I saw a list on the refrigerator and it says to do. And I never seen that kind of shit. I go, hey, what the hell's a to do list? The guy was sitting there and his wife was sitting there. And she goes, well, that's a list where I tell my husband these are the chores he needs to do. And I started laughing. I looked at him. I says, Mark, you got a to-do list, man? Really? Boy, his wife got mad. And they weren't friends with us anymore. Now the guy was cool, but his wife wanted to break friendship. And this was my wife's best friend. And I told my wife later, she goes, yeah, they're not, they don't want to be friends with us. I go, well, she's not really your best friend if she's gonna break up friendship with you over some stupid shit like this. You know what I mean? So again, they're all weak men that the women ran the show, and I'm not like that. So my wife was cool. But the thing was, she was kind of set in her own ways. There was some cats in the house, which I don't have a problem with animals, but again, there's some weird. I don't know. The cats were kind of strange. I had some issues with one of the cats. I mean, he didn't like it. He was a male dominant cat and shit like that. But the in-laws were really nice. They were cool. Used to give us $1,000 for Christmas, every Christmas and stuff like that. The dad was nice. I used to play racquetball with him and stuff. He used to bring him to the gym and play racquetball with us. So again, there was some positive stuff, but it wasn't going anywhere. My wife was talking about she wants to keep working after retirement. I'm like, I want to retire. I'm taking early retirement. So she was trying to change up the script on where this relationship was going to go or this marriage. I'm like, nah, I'm out. So once I got in my mind that I'm out, I'm done, man. My mind's no longer in that relationship. I got to move on, man. That's just the way I am.
Likewise. Have you seen
Yeah.
any foreign guys or expats that like in my experience, I've seen guys come over that I could tell that they was wounded, they didn't have confidence, that they was damaged from past relationships, but I see them along the way with good women that build their confidence back up. In due time, I see these men become stronger and more happier in life and more open. They went through a
Yeah.
transition. Have you seen that over there?
I mean, you see all kinds here. We met a guy on the boulevard a few months back, right? We're sitting on the boulevard in the evening. I mean, if you want to pick up a girl, you just go to the boulevard here, right? Early evening. And the guy, not a bad looking dude, good looking guy, maybe early 50s. I can't remember his name. This is about 6 or 8 months ago when we first got here. And we're sitting there and we started talking with him and stuff. And it was this really fine girl. Man, she might have been in her early 20s. She had a child. And I go, man, you should go talk to that girl. I go, but she's got a child. She goes, man, I wouldn't mind dating a girl with one kid. That's what he said. I go, man, go talk to her. I mean, this girl was fine. He was too afraid. I had to go there and just like get the girl and say, hey, man, this dude wants to talk to you. Friend of ours, blah, 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 and got him to talk to her. He was afraid. So again, you meet guys like that. Now, I don't know if he was ever married. I can't remember this dude. I meet so many guys, I can't remember if the guy was married and stuff. But yeah, you get guys that come here. I mean, they're just, shell shocked. They just got, uh, lost half their money, assets. They just went through a bad divorce, this, that. But it takes time. You're not going to just come here and boom, all of a sudden just jump back into things. You got to get your mind back together.
Right.
Get confidence back up because if you go through a major divorce, which I never have, going through a big time divorce, man, probably takes a lot out of you. You know, and it takes time to rebuild your self esteem and stuff like that. I'm sure.
Right. You said something, Jerry. Like I have to convince so many guys how easy it is to walk up and talk to a beautiful Filipino. That they think it's difficult. They think that it's so hard. They don't have the confidence to do this. I say it's so easy to go walk up to her and talk to her. But they base things off what they see in the West. When you see a beautiful woman, she might diss you, not give you the time of the day, or have a nasty attitude. But over there, guys, they be amazed when they see that they can just walk up to a beautiful woman and she talk back to them. They be like, wow, they're not used to that. When you can pretty much do that to any woman, you can just walk up to them and talk to them and get the opposite response that you would get in the United States.
Yeah, in the U.S., they'll probably call the cops and say you're trying to rape them and shit. You know what I'm saying? And all you said was hello. You know what I mean? So no, here the women are very approachable. Shit, they come up to you. But then again, that's probably a lot of times not the women that you want to be chasing is the one that actually come up to you. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh
hey,
no, he
women
coming
look
up to
at
you
you.
for a reason. This year's a target.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, you'll get looks from women and stuff, and they'll smile or this or that. I get that all the time, man. And some of
I
them are
had
probably
I had a
foreigners.
subscriber come over. I see him slowly build his confidence up there. He saw how easy it was to talk to girls, and he was just walking up to them after a few days. But the
Mm,
first 3 days, he was kind of like he didn't have confidence. Though. He was like, "Oh, she's so beautiful." They're like, "What if she don't like me?" I said, "It's different here. It's like because it's I think it's more women in the Philippines than there are men, and there's so many beautiful women that a lot of times they don't see themselves as being beautiful as we might see them.
right,
Um, Even in the eyes of a Filipino, a girl that we might say is a 10 might be a 5 to them.
right. The women here are generally not stuck up. Very few. And there's a few. The one that are kind of westernized can be stuck up, I'm sure. But in general, women here that I've only lived in the Philippines, they're not stuck up. You know, uh, again, you got to kind of just like you get a lot of guys that come out here, dude. They don't even do their homework before they get here, man. I'm telling you. And then they do stupid shit, you know, and then they get in trouble or not in trouble, big time trouble, but they'll just do stupid stuff. And then they'll get taken, they'll get ripped off, this, that. So, like I tell anybody, man, just do your homework before you come out here. It's like a kid in a candy store. Man, there's a lot of candy here, all different kinds of candy. And you can't go crazy with all the candy that's here, man, because that's what happens. People let their guard down when they see all this candy walking around, and that's when they get ripped off and stuff, or make bad mistakes, or make wrong decisions and stuff like that. Get into the wrong relationship and stuff like that. So happens a lot. I meet so many people here, dude. They go through 6, 8, 10, 15 minutes. I mean, and they're complaining they can't find the right one. And all I say to them is, well, change up. Maybe go into look at a different age bracket, or look at this, or look at that. No, it's got to be a 21-year-old. Well, then if it's got to be a 21-year-old, then you're going to keep having the same problems all the time. What does that tell them? But again,
Yeah, I think a lot of guys come over because they see the dynamic is different, and they can get that 21-year-old there where they couldn't
right,
get in the U.S. It's like a fantasy. A lot of times things don't work out sometimes because of the age gap. That could be an issue, but guys not looking at that. They're just looking at sometimes they want a trophy or they have this beautiful woman that had this experience. Um, one thing I want to ask you too, like I know in the U.S. if I want to get a woman, it's like I gotta have on a pair of Jordans, I gotta have on jewelry, I gotta look a certain way, have the name brands on to get the women. Like, what do it take to get a woman in the Philippines? Do you got to have certain type of clothes or present yourself in a certain type of
well,
way?
I mean, you know what? It depends the kind of women you're chasing here. So I mean, that's kind of a hard question. I mean, in the Philippines, I think if you're just a good guy, like you treat your women nice, and you don't have to be, you don't have to be simping or anything like that. Or you just got to treat them nice, but you want to get them to respect you as well. Okay, but you treat them nice. And you don't have to do much, dude. I mean, I got guys. See, I see guys here. They take their girls off to Jollibee and McDonald's, and these girls are happy. You know. Now we don't eat that kind of food, but we'll go to different kinds of restaurants, carryouts, and stuff like that, carinderias and stuff, and keeps my wife happy. So, but you don't have to do as much for a Filipina that you would for a Western woman. Filipinos are a lot easier to, how should I say, keep them happy. At least, at least the majority of them. Again, that small percentage that has been, how should I say, exposed to Western type lifestyle, then that's the ones that are going to obviously look for more. They're going to be more demanding. But the Filipinos that have never been out of the country, they're not very demanding, man. It's you don't have to spend much money here. I mean, for me to have a nice time with my wife and she's happy and all that. I mean, she's happy no matter what we do. But just going to the beach, going snorkeling for the day. She brings the food. We hang out for 4 or 5. We can spend the whole day at the beach, man. And that's what you spend, $3, 150 pesos. We rented a couple of chairs for 50 pesos each. It costs us 30 pesos each to get in, to bring my scooter in. So 160 pesos, and she's happy. I mean, we could stop off and eat at a nice restaurant for like, 400 to 600 pesos. I don't think I've ever spent more than 1,000 pesos on a meal going out to eat here now in Dumaguete here. That's about 20 bucks. So
Right. So one of the things he said, and in every relationship, you're gonna spend money, but compared to the West and dating a Filipino, you're gonna spend a whole lot less. A whole lot less.
well, yeah, and think about it. I mean, I get on my scooter to go to the beach, right? So gas probably might have cost me what, 20 or 30 cents to get to the beach, right? Maybe, I don't know, 10 kilometers, whatever. And then the entry fee and all that's $3. I might have spent, not even not even $3, not even $4, including transportation costs and then beach entry costs and maybe some food. We bought some food and we cooked it at home, so maybe altogether it might have cost us maybe $5 or $6 to go out. So that ain't shit. You can do that all day long, every day. But when you
Right.
got, and I mean, I remember I used to go out to lunch with my wife at a Mexican restaurant, or here or there in Chicago. We easily dropped for lunch with tip $70. So
Right.
yeah,
So I can compare in the U.S. If I take a woman to a nice dinner, we go out to movies and eat and order food at the movies, that could cost me maybe $150. The average
yeah,
date in the U.S. I spent over $100 on my average dates in the U.S. But
yeah.
I get the same thing in the Philippines. I can go out to a nice restaurant, full course meal and drinks, and go to the movies on less than $30.
Right.
That's on the average. The average date, the average date, like I took her somewhere nice. Me and Rose go somewhere nice to eat and sit down and be entertained for the evening. Man, the average date would cost me maybe $35. And
Right.
we had a full day, a full evening. I mean, what is the average you might spend? You take your wife out on a good, y'all have a good date. Like you take her out on a date. How much on the average you might spend?
We don't really look at it as, oh, let's go out on a date. We don't look at it that way. It's like, all right, like I went out and do some stuff today. She jumped on the bike, went with me. And then after I was done doing these things, we went out to get something to eat. So again, it could be all different, or we might go and get some coffee in the morning and go sit at the boulevard, spend some time doing that or something, or do a video or something. So it just depends, it's not like, oh, let's go out on a date. We don't really think that way. Every day's a date here, basically. See what I mean? So, I mean, because we're not working or anything like that. So, whatever we do that day, it's kind of like we're just doing stuff that just to have fun and stuff like that, or doing, some errands and stuff like that. But we might do an errand and run into some people that we know and start, and from there we might be bullshitting with them and go out for a drink or beer or whatever. So, again, you never know what's going to happen on any given day here. You don't know when you step out the door, especially here in Dumaguete because there's a lot of expats and stuff. So,
Right. I mean,
but
same
overall,
way
I mean,
in my situation, it was the same way. We did stuff every day. Um, I noticed like maybe last year I was there. It was very rare that she cooked. We order food every day and we go out to eat pretty much every day. But we did take Sunday as our special day to do something special. And like a date for us, we had a special day because the people that we hung around, a lot of the couples, they did stuff on Sundays. Sometimes we do stuff with them, then we did stuff alone. That was just a particular day that we did something special where we might go to the movies or do something
right,
like out the norm or whatever to keep us happy and
yeah,
entertained. Because I mean, when you with a woman, you gonna spend money. A woman don't want to be with you if you broke, but at the same
right,
time, like in the Philippines, you're not gonna break the bank making a woman happy or taking her out compared to in the
right,
West where you'll be broke because like the guy said in the comment section said Jollibees is a must for Filipinos. You can take them somewhere simple like Jollibees or even McDonald's or an American chain fast food place
right.
and they're very happy. And I know in the U.S. I met a girl one time on the first date she wanted to go to Ruth Chris. You know that could be very expensive. I mean, I take a
Oh,
date that's a couple of $100 or more, and she
damn.
asked me that on the first date. I'm like, wow. I mean, a Filipino woman, I mean, $200. I mean that. I mean, shoot. I mean, you ain't got to spend that much to
No, you
impress
really
them.
don't. I mean, before this COVID hit, we used to maybe get a couple of tickets, fly into Manila or something like that. Hang out for 3, 4 days, 5 days. Go to different areas of Manila, or we'd go to Bohol and do some stuff. Just before the COVID hit, we went down to Davao, visited some friends down there for, well, I think it was like 5 days or something like that. So, if it wasn't for COVID and the islands will open up, we'd just be going to other parts of the Philippines to visit and stuff. So that's what we would
Right.
do.
Another misconception too that I wanted. I know you could talk about this. You know this. A lot of misconception. They say that all the women are gold diggers, but I know based on your experience and what you told me in the past, and I even know on my experience, like Rose always been the type of woman that if I spend money, if I do even simple things, she'll say, okay, that's enough. Like I don't have to do too much. She always looked out for me, wanted me to save money. And in your case, I mean, I know you say your woman the same way. It's like
Right.
she not the gold digging type. She wants you to save money. She not. You ain't got to constantly spend money. She always tell you. She might tell you, you don't have to do this. I'm okay.
Right. I mean, if you're gonna hang out with a gold digger, then that's on you. That's the way I look at it. So don't complain if your girl's always talking about you having to spend money on her, take her here, take her there, because you can put a stop to that real quick and say no, or get rid of her and get yourself another girl. So that's on you. That's the way I look at it. So anybody that ever complains like that, I just look at it and say, hey man, that's on you. You can solve that. You can solve that problem very fairly quickly by getting rid of the girl and bringing in another prospect, and that's it. You know, that it's an issue that can be solved quite easily. So,
Right.
but no, I
So like
don't have that.
if you meet a girl that asking for the iPhone and asking for this and that, I'm telling you guys that listen, you could cancel her easily and get another one. You can replace her. I mean, some guys look at it different because in the United States, you break up with a woman. I mean, it might be hard to find another one. It might take a month or longer to find another one. But in the Philippines, it's so easy. I mean, you can walk away and walk up the street and find another one. That it's that easy. I mean, would
Yeah,
you agree with that?
yeah, they're there. They're definitely they're available. They're everywhere. They're approachable. So they're definitely there. So yeah, I mean, if you come to the Philippines and you got a hard time finding a woman or hooking up with a woman, then something's wrong with you. Nothing wrong with the women here. It's you. you know? So, and I mean, we know there was this one blogger that came out to the Philippines on his first trip, didn't get any women. Now we were just laughing at him. I'm not even gonna mention any names, but yeah, he ain't getting no women. He even admitted it. And on his second trip, I think he just hung out with bar girls. That's what he did. So again, you got guys here that come out here and that's all they know is bar girls. That's it. Because that's all they're used to. In their home country in the US, that's where a lot of people go to pick up women is into bars. That's the last place I go to pick up women. Or at least any women that of any quality. I don't even want to go to bars to bang women from the bars. It's just too much headache, too much hassle to go through all that shit just to get some. I don't even bother. Bars are
Right.
yeah, bars are like
I
nah.
think a lot of guys go to the bars. I mean, some guys don't even have the game, but they got the money, and you don't have to have game. I mean, that's an easy way to get the women going to the bar. But I like a challenge, and I know I can get women based on my ability to talk to the woman, communicate with her. I ain't got to pull my wallet out, but
Right.
I can make her look at something different than that and draw her. I like the challenge. I mean, I could do the easy way, go to the bar, but I mean, I wouldn't want to do that. I would rather just take my chances on just going out meeting an average woman out and about. And you can talk to them. I mean, that's the best way to get to know them. Like sometimes it might work out. So you might have to go through other women's or whatever to find that one. Take your time, don't rush it, and
Yeah.
just kind of just date like maybe a few women to see which one is the right one. Not be in a
Yeah.
hurry. Some guys get the first woman. Sometimes they mess up. They get the first woman. They don't
Yeah.
work. I know
And
for
that,
you it worked.
yeah, for me it worked, but that's really a needle in the haystack. It's very rare. You're gonna go through some women here. You are. Now, I started online, and I kind of know how online works. Online dating. Actually, if you know how to use online dating, you can pick up on the red flags real quick, and you can weed these women out, and they don't cost you nothing. See what I mean? So if you know how to use online dating to your advantage, it could be a good tool to use in finding somebody. They're not all scammers online. There's some really nice women that come online to meet somebody. Especially when you're trying to meet somebody from another country. I mean, you know, that's where you go. You go online. But for me, it worked out, and I know some other guys that worked out too, and there's other guys that didn't work out. So, again, it's all up to you, man. You got to be able to spot the red flags. You got to be kind
Right.
of, kind of. You can't be naive, man. That's the thing, and I guess that's the word I really want to use. Is a lot of these guys that come to the Philippines are extremely naive when they meet some of these Filipinas, especially when they meet the wrong Filipino. I mean, dude, I can take you to this one bar. From time to time, I'll drop by there on Sundays because a lot of French guys hang out there. They play bocce ball, you know. Sometimes I'll play with these guys, and sometimes I just come in just to kind of sit down, watch, and have a beer. And there's women, all kinds of women there, and they are fine, but you know, half of them are drunk and shit like that. And you can tell these are bar girls, straight up bar girls, you know. And so, but I wouldn't even waste my time with some of them. I really would. It's
Right.
just too
You
much
can tell
hassle.
the bar girl type by the way they dress. Right?
They're
Because more
loud.
the good women's gonna be conservative. They're gonna dress more
Yeah,
conservative. They're not gonna
yeah,
show
yeah,
all their body and their assets. The women
yeah.
that I mean, common sense tell you they showing this and that. They working. They
Yeah,
advertising.
right.
Most guys mess up too because they don't know the culture. Like in the United States, to get a woman, you got to impress her. You got to show her your nice house and nice cars. And most foreign guys meet women online. They mess up by showing the women, look at my house I live in, look at my car. Of course, you're gonna draw the gold diggers if you using that same technique you use in the United States. You get those type of
Right.
women because if you know the culture, you know you don't have to do that. You understand the culture, you know that you don't have to show the house. Like when I tried to women online, even Rose, I didn't show her like what I had. I was really talking to her, getting to know her because it's like in the United States, you see a beautiful woman on that same level that look the same way as these beautiful women over there. It's more difficult in the United States to get that woman. It's not as easy as it is in the Philippines, where you got a whole bunch of pretty women just walking around. It's common. In the U.S., like a Filipino would be exotic. And if you're dating an exotic woman in the United States, sometimes it's gonna be different. It's gonna you gotta show your assets because they're gonna have guys constantly coming at them, showing them what they got to offer, and they're gonna go to the highest bidder. But it's not like that in the Philippines. It's different.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You know what? Even if I was a younger guy here, and they say my 20s and 30s, don't even bother with Western women, especially that young generation in their 20s. Oh man, they can't even wipe their own ass. You know, the parents do everything for them. They're just that. What is that generation? What is that generation? The 20 somethings.
Generation
What
X.
is that X? I'm not sure. That generation's really screwed up. It's got some issues. Uh, if I was young guy, even if I was a young guy in my 30s and 40s, shit, I'd come out to the Philippines and find me a wife out there, and then you'll have to bring her back to the U.S. because you're working in the U.S. But that's what I would do. I would recommend. Uh, but I would not get married in the U.S. to a Western woman. I really wouldn't. And at this point, even now, dating here in the Philippines and being married to a Filipina, I would never go back and date somebody in the U.S. You know, Generation Z, is that Z guys? Yeah,
Yeah, everybody
Generation Z.
says Z.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird. I mean, I'm sure there's some of the guys, kids in the Generation Z got it together, but a lot of them don't, man. It's a weird, different. It's just a different kind of generation. It's a generation that can't do much for itself. It's really weird. Parents do everything for them, but again, what are you gonna do?
One
But
thing too, I did observe too, Jerry, is because the latest city G made a point too. They're talking about the women 50 years ago in the United States, and like how the times have changed. But when I went to the Philippines, I felt nostalgic in a way. I like that quality. I want a woman from like 50 years ago. I want that. I hate America changed. I wish the women in our country were still the same way. Maybe a lot of guys would be jumping on airplanes, going over to meet women with those qualities. It ain't just the way they look; it's the way they treat you. Also, would you agree? It's not only the looks; it's the way they treat you that the
yeah,
men are happy.
they treat you really well here. And again, like I said, if my first wife had half the qualities that my second wife has, I would have stayed with the first wife. You know what I mean? The Filipinos can take care of you. But here's the thing: the reason the Filipinos will take care of you, will be able can take care of you. They're very caring. Um, they're considerate. They're just all around. I mean, they're happy people. They're not combative. They're not confrontational, as you know. They're not confrontational. Uh, and they're just, I don't know, man. They're just good people. I mean, you get a good one. If you get a good one in the Philippines, man, you got it made. Yeah,
Right.
they ain't gonna be divorced, or
You
there'll be no
said you said
separation.
something too. I want you to elaborate on this a little bit, Jerry. You said they're not confrontational because in the United States, most men's in a situation where they have to fight for dominancy. They have to fight for their position to be the man in a relationship. They have to. A lot of men in the U.S. don't even feel like men because they're used. the women are dominating them. In the Philippines, do you feel you had to fight for dominancy, or you had to fight for the respect of to be a man?
No, because Filipinos expect you to be a man. If you're weak, being in a relationship with a Filipino probably ain't gonna work. You know. So the Filipina expect, especially as a foreigner, expects the foreigner to generally lead and make decisions in that relationship in general. If you're a weak kind of guy, I don't know if being married to a Filipina is really going to work for you. Even though Filipinas, it's a matriarchal. How should I say? Filipinas kind of run the household, you know. Uh, but you would have to get a really, if you're a weak kind of guy, you got to get a strong, really, really strong Filipina. Uh, and in general, but from what I see here, Filipinos generally like to follow. They're not a lot of them are leaders. They tend to be followers. But that's just my
Right? Would you
opinion.
say would you say they cater to the men? Do they cater to their
They
men?
go, yeah, they cater to you big time, big time. My wife does stuff for me. I don't even ask, and she's already on it. It's really weird. She knows what I need before I know what I need. You know?
Right. I think
Yeah, it's like
I think the misconception of a lot of people, even the women that's bitter in the West, the misconception is I think they think that we tell them wash my clothes, cook my dinner. We don't
we
ask
don't.
them to do that. They do that naturally. They do
They
it.
think we treat them like second hands, like second class citizens. That's what the Western women mentality is. Yeah, look at her. She's washing his clothes. She's cooking his meals. She treats her like a slave or some shit like that. No, this is what they want to do. Don't take that away from the Filipina. You know, if she wants to cook, if she want to wash her clothes by hand, let her do it. If she wants to cook food for you, let her do it. When my wife came to the U.S., we had in my condo we had a washer and dryer in my unit. She never used it. She was washing clothes by hand when I was at work and hanging them in the bathroom, on the shower hole there. We had two bathrooms anyway, so it didn't matter. And I didn't try to westernize her. Like I know guys would say, well, use the wash machine, blah blah blah. I just let her do it. I let her do what she wants because I didn't want to de-Philippinize her. I didn't want her to
Right.
lose roots, even though we knew we're coming back in 4 to 5 years. And plus, the older they are when they come to your home country, the harder it is to Americanize them. So if you take a 20-year-old Filipina to bring her to the U.S., she can probably pretty quick within probably 4 to 5 years. Generally, it takes seven, but I'd say within 5 years she could be Americanized. But the older they are, the harder it is to Americanize them or Europeanize them or whatever. So keep that in mind,
Right.
guys.
They're like your woman. When I first got to the Philippines, I wasn't used to this. I see Rose work so hard. She wake up every day, clean the house, and cook 3 times a day. I mean, that's how I gained a lot of weight. And I
Right.
even suggested at times, I can cook. I'm a good cook. She never let me get nowhere near the kitchen. And right, because I wasn't used to that. Right then and there, I understand. I just let her do what she do. I didn't try to change her. I let her cook. She wouldn't let me get nowhere near the kitchen. She wouldn't let me
Yeah.
do anything. Even when I offered to assist and help her, I mean, because of my culture, it's different. I wasn't used to it, but I learned to adjust and let her do what she do. I didn't try to change her. And like I said, she didn't demand that of me. It wasn't required.
Right. I mean, for me, I had no problem, changing up because I mean, again, uh, my wife, I taught her how to cook certain things, a little bit different. Even though she doesn't really eat like a Filipino, but I taught her how to cook with olive oil and garlic and all that. Once she understood the basics of how I like certain things cooked, she ran with it, and she got books on recipes and this and that. I mean, she's a really good cook. I don't, dude. I haven't. I think, and I used to cook my own food for many years. Again, being a bachelor for a long time. I think since I met my wife 6 years ago, I think I might have cooked since she came to the U.S. in 2016, I think I might have cooked maybe 2 or 3 times. That's it. So she takes care of all that, which I'm fine. I don't want to deal with cooking anymore. She takes care of all that. I can use that time to do other stuff. So we kind of work as a team, and that's kind of what you want to do when you get married to a Filipina. Make sure you work as a team, because if you both trying to be leaders to head this, I should say, to lead this relationship, or you both are followers, it ain't gonna work. One of you guys has to lead, and one of you guys has to follow. You got to keep that in mind, and that's a recipe for success in a marriage. We work as a team. If you can't work as a team, forget it. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna work for you. You'll get divorced fairly quickly.
Right. How long did you and your wife stay in the United States?
We were there 4 years. Wait a minute. She came in March of 2016, and we left September of 2019. So about 3.5 years. Just long enough to get her citizenship, got her passport, and we were out of there. And got her Filipino citizenship back, and we were out of there. No, gone.
In that in that time period, living in the United States, did that change her in any way? Did you notice any change in her being in the U.S., or did she remain the same?
No, she remained the same. Like I said, the older the Filipina is when she comes to your foreign country, the longer and it's harder for them to become Americanized. The younger they are, the quicker and easier it becomes for them to be Americanized. Always remember that. So anybody watching this show, if you're gonna bring a 20-year-old to the U.S. or a 30-year-old to the U.S., the 20-year-old world will be Americanized a lot faster than the 30-year-old. Just keep that in mind. The younger they are, the easier and faster it will be for them to become Americanized. Once they're Americanized, though, the question is, do you still want to be with them? That's something that you're going to have to figure out yourself.
Right. I think what you said is valid because I think the older we get, the more subtle we get. We get subtle in our ways. We get subtle, like with the way of life and the way of doing things. And like you said, when they get older, it's hard to change. They're not really open to change.
Give me 1 second, Jay. I'll be right back. I'm just going to get something to drink out of the refrigerator. Okay?
Oh, okay. Make sure
One
you
second.
guys subscribe to his channel, Philippines and Beyond. Make sure you smash the like button also and share the video. We had a great topic going on tonight. If any of you guys want to join in too on the panel, you're more than welcome to come on. It's an open panel, open discussion. And we was talking about the video that Cynthia G posted about like the black men going to the Philippines, talking to Filipino women. And I said it's full of erroneous information based on tone of an angry, bitter woman. And they sitting there bashing. They have no clue of what's going on. They have no clue with the culture and the way things are done. Everything I heard was pretty much stereotypical stuff that you would hear. And their references was the 90 Day Fiance. But my reference, Jerry references is real life, what we see in real life. It's not what we see on TV. It's not what we see on the script or whatever. We see in real life every day people that's happy, successful. A lot of guys going to the Philippines because they see a certain type of quality. I think the quality that the women are very feminist and they take care of the man. You don't have to argue with them. You don't have to have headaches. I mean, of course, any relationship has its problems. It's not going to be perfect. I mean, no relationship is perfect, but it's not going to be the same headache that you'll have in the United States. I mean, if I had to deal with a woman like Cynthia G, I would not be happy. If I was with the other woman, I would not be happy. But I'm so glad that I know I have an option that I can explore. And there's nothing wrong with that. They try to make us feel guilty, put us down because we exploring our options. That we're not putting up with that nonsense. I mean, we can do what we want to do. We can do it our way and be happy. Life is all about being happiness. I said that the other day. Being happy in life is very important. I mean, who want to be miserable and and with someone just because? I mean, come on. And
Well,
the women you dealing with, go ahead.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I was just reading what Eugene Thomas just said. Yes, when you bring them over young, they will change on you. Had a Filipino wife, she changed on me after she got her green card. So I know. Uh, it's sad to see a story like that when a woman comes for just a green card and then just takes off. But yeah, that happens a lot. And this is why it's really important when you first meet your spouse before you bring her to the U.S. to really look for them red flags. I mean, I know there were some red flags there, Eugene, somewhere when you first met her. You probably just didn't see the red flags. But you got to really keep your eyes open, especially when you're getting married at a younger age and you're bringing her over to the U.S. Keep your eyes open. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to see that, hey, damn, she gets there, she gets the green card, waits for a couple years and splits. But there's got to be some red flags there that you could have spotted that maybe you overlooked that might have gave you an idea or some kind of an idea that, man, maybe this girl just wants me for a green card. There's got to be. I mean, that's just my opinion. But again,
I'm going to say it too. To be fair, that that can happen anywhere. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
a woman can spot a weak person anywhere. It happened in the United States all the time. I seen guys get taken advantage of and left in a bad way. I mean, that's why a
Yeah.
lot of guys going abroad because they wasn't happy in their other situation. They try something different, and they would draw them. But they said all the Filipino women are gold diggers. It's gold diggers in the U.S. It's bad women's everywhere.
Well, hey,
But if
can
you
I
a
say
weak
something?
guy,
Hey, Jay, can I say
go
something?
ahead. Yeah, you good.
Not to cut you off, but hey, Eugene, if she got her green card, it's great. And let me give you another piece of advice because I do this a lot, and I consult with people that want to that do the paperwork to bring their wives to the U.S. because that's a big part of my channel. Help her get her citizenship, brother. And you know why? Because when you sign that affidavit of support, you're on the hook to help support your wife, whether she divorces you or not, for the next 10 years from the date that she came to the United States, 10 years out. But once she gets her citizenship, you are no longer liable to support her for the up to 10 years. It stops. Your support stops for her the minute she becomes a U.S. citizen. Because technically, if your wife divorces you and goes out on her own and says, "Hey, she's having a hard time, paying the bills and all that," technically the government can come after you and make they'll help her with welfare or whatever to help pay her bills. But technically, they can come after you and get that money back from you. Just to let you know. So I would always recommend people help your spouse if you think she's going to divorce you. Help her get that citizenship because the minute she gets that citizenship, she's on her own. On her own. You don't have to support her. But again, it's just my opinion. That it says that also in the paperwork. So, go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
No, you're good. Rose, if you can, I'm trying to post the link for them to come on. If you can stroll up, copy that and post it in the comment section because I'm having a hard time trying to do it. If anyone want to join the panel before we get out of here, we're gonna be here for a little while, a little while longer, not that much longer. You got any questions you want to ask? You can
Hey,
answer it in the
you can
comment
scroll
section.
up. It's still there. It's still there. The link.
It's
If
still there.
they
Okay.
scroll up, it's still there. If they scroll up, it's still there.
So if any of you guys got any input on this topic, you're more than welcome to come on the panel, or you can answer. I mean, ask the question in the chat, and we'll try our best to do it. Uh, but I see more and more guys going to the Philippines, and a lot of guys seeing great qualities in women and making them wives. Uh, I think Filipino women are good choices as a wife. Um, would you say that compared to a lot of other women? Because I did a show like
Yeah, you know
3 weeks
what?
ago dealing with the Thai women and the Filipino women, and most of the guys said that the Thai women you bang them, but a lot of the guys said that the
You just
Filipino women
they're
were
not
great
married
wives.
material. I mean, yeah, the Filipino are more. If you're gonna get married in the Philippines. Don't get married to a Thai. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are some, successful marriages with Thai women, but you hear a lot of horror stories with Thai women. Thai women are kind of like Chinese women, very opportunistic. What they do, it's funny. Somebody was telling me he's in Thailand, right? And when he meets a woman, the first thing a lot of them will ask you, "Do you rent or do you own?" If you own, they like you. like a condo or a house. If you
Yeah,
rent, they don't want nothing. You ain't got no money. So again, if you're gonna get married, definitely go with the Filipino women. Look, when you come to the Philippines, and if you're looking at getting married in your home country, you by marrying a Filipina, you're increasing the probability that your marriage is going to work. Now, it's not 100% that your marriage is going to work, right, to a Filipina, but you got probably better odds of your marriage being successful married to a Filipina than you would to say your home country, a woman from your home country.
right. I'm gonna say this is like this only my opinion. It's not by facts, but based on my perception, I'm gonna say throughout all of Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, all throughout Southeast Asia, I'm gonna say Filipino women are the top choice. I'm gonna say that they have the best quality. I think they'll make the best wife. What do you think about that? I mean, throughout Asia, is there any other country would you say that have better women to offer than the Philippines?
You know what? I've dealt with a lot of Vietnamese women, Vietnamese community in the U.S. And generally, Vietnamese will stick to Vietnamese. They don't really marry outside their race very much. Uh, so, but the thing about Vietnamese women, they don't age well. They really don't. Now, Filipinas age a lot better than Vietnamese women. I don't know how Thais, if they age well. I think they do. They age kind of well. Now, if you notice the Thai women, they kind of look like Filipinas. There's not a big difference in looks between a Thai and a Filipina, but it's the mentality. The Filipino mentality, I think, is a lot better than Thai.
Right. But based on my experience and what I've
Much about
seen, I
Chinese
think
women.
what I think Filipino
Yeah,
women are more friendly and more open. Cause I've seen other women I've talked to, they kind of close in a way. They're not as open and not as friendly. Like the Filipino
yeah.
women seem more friendly and more open to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, I've dated Chinese women. Don't like the Chinese; they're opportunistic, and yeah, they're more. And Chinese are generally will marry Chinese guys. Although you're starting to see with the younger Chinese generation, you're starting to see a lot with foreigners here in the U.S. Now, are they trying to do? Are they dating foreigners because they want to, get the green card and the citizenship? That's probably why. But I wouldn't trust Chinese women. Uh, they're really, again, very opportunistic. And they would prefer to marry Chinese guys. But again, other Southeast Asian countries, I don't know, women from India, really that look doesn't really do much for me. Uh, but again, don't know much about that culture. But
When it comes to
Filipinas,
Chinese women, dealing with Chinese women, I've seen most of those women is like it's easier for the foreigner to talk to them when they're over 30 because at that age, if the local guys not don't have them, most of the time they're gonna be an old maid. Sometimes they have no other choices, and when they get 30 or something, because I've seen success stories on them, and they were more 30 years old because the foreign guys saw interest in them, not the local guys.
right,
Most of them
yeah.
get married young. I think most of them get married in their 20s, but as they get in their 30s, then it kind of look dimmer because there's so many
Mm.
selection for these guys. They have
Mm.
options, so it's like where the local guy might not choose them, a foreign guy might choose them.
Well, in China, there's a shortage of women, because they had that one child policy, for many, many years. I don't know if it's two kids now, but for a long time, it was that one child policy. And if a Chinese girl, had a baby girl, they would kill it because they wanted boys. So you got like for every one woman in China, I think it's like 6 or 10 guys or something like that. So again, not a lot of you got a lot more men in China than you do women. But again, I prefer I wouldn't date in that I wouldn't date Chinese. I really wouldn't. Uh,
What do you
Jaws
think
was
about the
asking.
question? Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. It's on the screen about the
Okay,
Indonesian.
I don't know about these women. They're supposed to be attractive though, Indonesian women, but I don't know what kind of temperament they have. I don't know what they're about. I really don't.
I have a brief experience with one. I couldn't really figure her out. She wasn't as friendly than the Filipino women, She was
Oh,
okay, but I didn't see that nurturing, that caring. It's like I was trying to check her out, but I think she had like some kind of alternative motive or something, some kind of way. I didn't feel the trust in her. I felt like she was up to something.
mm.
I
You know,
couldn't get close to her. I didn't have that same closeness that I would have with talking to a Filipino woman. I didn't hear the
oh,
same kind of compassion. She was just nice, but she wasn't calling me like the Filipino woman was. How's your day? How's your afternoon? It wasn't nothing like that.
well, I remember when I was in college, dude. There was a Malaysian woman. One of my roommates was dating a Malaysian woman that was actually going to school there at our college. But they didn't date that long because she remember she would say to him, "Man, she goes, my parents will never accept you." That kind of shit to my friend. But she was dating the guy. He was hitting it, but she definitely wasn't going to take him home to meet the parents. That's for sure. But I think the Malaysians are they Muslim?
Hello, Jerry, are you there? All right. I don't know if we got any internet connection going on, problems or whatever, or is it on my end? Can you guys hear me out there?
A lot of people speak English here. That's what's so nice about it. I believe to be Muslim. It is Muslim. Yeah.
And that's one good thing too with the Filipino women is majority of them are Christian or Catholic, so that then you have no language barrier with them, so
Right.
that's pretty good. And
Yeah.
they pretty much understand the Western ways a little bit. They pretty much, I mean, with any woman, sometimes it might take some patience and some time to train. Do you think when they're dealing with a Filipino woman, do you have to train them in any kind of way, or I mean, what was the hardest thing you said that some guys might have with adjusting to the Filipino woman?
Well, oh, you mean for the foreigner to adjust to the Filipino women, or vice
Yes,
versa?
like each way, both ways. Like,
Uh,
what are some of the cultural differences that you and your wife, based on your relationship, some of the things that was challenging with you?
yeah, I think a lot of guys. I don't know. It's each individual person is different, man. You got to once you understand the Filipinos' culture and how they react to certain things, then you can really understand the Filipino women. But I think a lot of guys, they talk about tempo and this and that. They don't really understand. They might get married. They might, after a year or 6 months, whatever, get married. They still don't really understand the culture and all that until after they get married. So again, it's always better to really understand the culture before you marry somebody in that culture. So it's getting married to somebody overseas is not something you want to rush into. That's why when you see these 90-day fiancés and all that, half these dudes don't even know what the heck they're doing when they go to these foreign countries. They go down to Colombia. They don't speak Spanish. They don't do this. They don't do that. Uh, they don't understand why this person thinks this way or that. You really got to kind of do your homework, man. I mean, you really do. Uh, for me, it was kind of easy because I kind of got out of that American mentality and just kind of went with it. So if I saw that my wife did something that I thought was kind of strange, I didn't say nothing. I just said, okay, well, that's the way they do things here. Especially like Filipino time, you could be going somewhere. You're supposed to meet somebody at 2 and they come at 3. But that's just the way it is.
Right.
You just got to deal with it. You can't get frustrated. There are certain things that happen here in the Philippines that really drive some of these foreigners crazy. They get frustrated. I really don't let it get to me, man, because that's just the way it is here. You get brownouts. And do me get it, we get a lot of brownouts. I don't go, I don't get weirded out on it. We get brownouts, we get brownouts. That's just the way it is, right? So we lose power
Right.
for an hour or two. No big deal. Deal with it. Or you go to the store and they're out of stock. That's okay. Deal with it. Or you want to go to a store that sells steaks, so I got to have that steak. It's hard to find a good steak here in the Philippines. Well, some stores you'll find a steak here and there. And if you don't, so you eat something different. Don't you deal with it. Don't make it a big deal. So.
Right. And going back to the 90 Day Fiance show, I think one thing I see a lot, most of the couples that get together, the problem always be they don't understand the culture. They don't know the culture. Like the guy Paul that met the Brazilian girl, he didn't understand the culture. And most of the
Right.
guys, they don't know anything about the culture. They date the women and know them for a short period of time. You don't never see people that have been talking for years that know the culture, that have experience. Most of the guys they show and the women are unexperienced. And I think the producer know right away that those are the people that's going to make a good show that they don't know, and they know it's going to be more problems than a person that's been dating for a while. Most of the time, if
Yeah.
they first time visiting the country, they show you the first time they meet. They're not been talking that long. They show you the first time they meet, then the next thing they want to get married. The perception already is they're gonna get
Right.
married even before they meet.
And,
That's
and a
already a risk.
lot of them are broke too. A lot of them don't have that much money. The ones that really uh, go through the drama and all that. A lot of times, the drama is based upon their financial situation too. Some of the times. So
Yeah, like Charles says, yeah, yes, I notice a lot of men go to places where they can't speak the languages. They're looking for a meaningful relationship. Communication is important. And you're right about that. Communication,
yeah,
finances are the
yeah.
important things in relationships. Those are reasons people divorce. A lot of times problems come from communication or it could be finances.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to be able to communicate with her, and that's what's so nice about the Philippines. A lot of the Filipinos, I mean, they'll speak English. They understand basic English, at least minimum basic English. So a lot of them speak English, and that's a good thing, man. You know, just think if my wife didn't speak English, how the hell I'd have to somehow learn Tagalog, or I don't know. It would just be a lot more of a hassle trying to figure her out and stuff like that. So thank God of English here. They speak English.
Right. Thank everybody for joining us. Make sure y'all hit the like button and share. Go over to Jerry channel, Philippines and Beyond, and check this channel out. And on that note, we're about to close this show out. I want to thank everybody for their comments, everybody for participating on tonight. Before we close out, I'm going to give Jerry final words, and also tell them about your channel, what your channel is about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. It's always a good time when I come on. Very informative here. My channel, basically, for any of you guys that are thinking about bringing a Filipina, or for you guys that are getting married outside the United States, and it could be any country, not just the Philippines, but since we're all talking about the Philippine community here, if you get married in the Philippines, you're going to have to do a spousal visa, or it's called an alien relative visa. And I have all the videos on my channel because I did it to bring my wife to the US. They're all there, very informative, and you can do the process yourself without using a lawyer. And I even went as far as when I have videos on getting the citizenship as well as removal of condition of the green card and stuff like that. So all the videos are there, and I'm pretty good about answering questions and stuff like that. And there's no charge. So I do video. So I do these type of videos. I'm doing video. I also have a lot of videos on how to prepare to move to the Philippines, like with your banking, getting rid of your stuff so that you get the most value for your stuff like that. So I also help people prepare for the move to the Philippines, and as well as just everyday stuff, hotel reviews and stuff like that around the Philippines and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not a huge channel. I just went over 4,000 subscribers. But again, it's I don't put up a lot of videos, but I put up videos when I'm ready to do that, and I'm having fun here, and I'm retired, and that's what it should be. I don't want to just run around and put the video in people's faces just to make money off my channel, and that's not really what I'm into. Financially, I don't need to make money on my channel. I do have people that do donate to my channel, which is great when I help them out with the visa stuff, but I never ask. But again, it's a fun channel, and hopefully you can learn from it. And for these kind of live streams that we do from time to time, I think it's also great. And we get a lot of good inputs from the guys that were in your live stream today too, which was cool. I was reading some of the comments and stuff. But again, thanks a lot for having me on, Jay. I really appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure having you on, Jerry. I've always enjoyed it. Like I said, make sure y'all go check him out. A lot of great information. Thank everybody for their input. Um, like I said to you guys, I mean, explore your options. You have options. Um, if you're not happy, you can't find your happiness in the United States, and you feel that your happiness is in the Philippines. I mean, you have the right to do that, and your happiness is what makes you happy, not what other people say. Do what makes you happy. Enjoy your life, live your life, and explore your options. Until the next time, everybody, peace out. You want to say something?
Yeah, I would just want to throw one thing in there. There's a lot of information out there on the Philippines, and it's going to be up to you guys to figure out what channel and which information will help you. Okay, because some of the information that you're going to run into, if you haven't already, is put out there just to get money from you guys, to get super chat, to sell you something that you want to hear. But we're here. We live in the Philippines, and we're telling you like it is. We're going to tell you about the good. We're going to tell you about the bad, and we're going to tell you about the ugly, right? So again, be careful what channels you listen to, and it's up to you to figure out which channel is going to help you and which is not. And the last thing I want to say is, for those of you guys that are in the U.S. and be really contemplating about coming, but got kind of nervous about it, just get when things open up, when the islands open up, when travel opens up again, just buy a fucking ticket and get on the plane and get your ass here. Because if you never do, and you're always the kind of guy that procrastinates, then you're never gonna know how good life is here. That's all I gotta say.
Right. And on that note, like I said, explore your options. Be happy. Happiness is important in life. You happy, you can be productive, you can be successful, and do a whole lot of stuff. Like why be unhappy? Sometimes you might, like you said, get on the airplane, fly over, and you might find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's good. It's good and bad everywhere. Uh, I could use stereotypes for the women over there, but I'm not gonna even stoop that low because I know, like I said, the stuff they said was very ignorant. You got gold diggers in the U.S. You got women in the U.S. that want to take from you. I mean, you got people that want. It's everywhere, not just based in the Philippines or whatever. So, like I said, explore your options. Do what make you happy. Live your life. And peace out, everybody. Till the next time. My love.
Later.